Chapter 197. Awu. Awu. Jimo jumped up high, jumping back and forth in the courtyard. Wahahaha. Heavens. Earth. My life's dream has finally been fulfilled. Wahahaha. Don't be happy. Chu Yang's face darkened. Jimo immediately kept quiet out of fear. He put on a flattering smile and said, "Boss, what instructions do you have? Don't worry, if you want me to climb a mountain of swords, I won't jump into a pot of boiling oil. If you want me to go east, I won't go west. If you want me to stink Jiu douching, I won't trample on Luo Ku Di." This sentence attracted the two people's eyes and cold snorts. You want a long sword? Or a short sword? There is only one long sword and one short sword. As soon as this sentence came out, Luo Ku Di became anxious. He hurriedly raised his hand and shouted, "Boss, I want a short sword." Luo Ku Di's martial arts belonged to the light category. A long sword was not suitable for him. He had been drooling over that short sword for a long time. Get lost. You broke through? Jimo shouted angrily. After thinking for a long time, he said, "I want a long sword." Luo Ku Di relaxed. His eyes flashed with a trace of gratitude. Are you sure? Chu Yang asked seriously. I'm sure. Jimo nodded vigorously. Jimo was different from Luo Ku Di. Jimo's G-clan's martial arts were suitable for both long and short swords. A short sword had its uses, and a long sword had its strengths. However, in terms of concealment, a short sword was easier to carry. It was also more unexpected. But now that he knew that Luo Ku Di liked a short sword, although Jimo scolded him on the surface, he had already decided to leave the short sword for Luo Ku Di. He wanted to leave a suitable weapon for his brother. Good. Chu Yang's eyes showed a look of appreciation. How could he not see that Jimo actually wanted a short sword? But for Jimo to make such a sacrifice, Chu Yang was still very gratified. The word brother had finally left a deep impression in the hearts of these three heavens debauchees. Millimeter, I agree. Chu Yang nodded. The sword is with Jiu douching. You can ask Jiu douching to give it to you. The corners of Jimo's mouth twitched. He was dumbfounded. He hadn't forgotten that just now, in order to get the sword, he had expressed his loyalty to Boss by flattering him and saying that he would humiliate Jiu douching. But now, in the blink of an eye, karma had come. With a bitter face, he turned his head to look at Jiu douching, only to see second brother Jiu looking at him with a cold face and a sneer at the corner of his mouth. He was looking at him with a playful expression. Oh my, Jishi, you want sword? Jimo stupidly opened his mouth. His face was full of regret. Second brother. Dearest second brother. My living immortal. Jimo hurriedly rushed to Jiu Duxing's side and did his best to flatter him. Jiu douching turned around and looked up at the sky. Jimo turned in front of Jiu douching with a whoosh. Second brother, wow. Jiu Duxing turned around again. Jimo paced back and forth for a while. But he was at his wit's end. He anxiously scratched his head and started to sweat profusely. Ah, my neck is so sore. Jiu douching twisted his neck left and right, making cracking sounds. Second brother, hihi, let me help you rub it. Jimo was extremely diligent. With a face full of flattery, he worked very hard. Son. My arms are also sore. Jiu douching said with a bitter face. Second brother. Let me help you rub it. Jimo immediately changed his target. My arms are really hard, let me help you rub it, my waist is sore. I'm already so old. Jiu douching sighed. Let me help you rub it. Jimo's eyes were about to spit fire. My legs are also sore. Jiu douching's whole body suddenly had a lot of problems. Let me help you rub it. Jimo's whole body was sweating after a while. How could he swallow his anger? Alright, since you are quite obedient. Jiu douching dragged out his tone and looked at Jimo. Jimo stood at attention. Second brother, don't worry. From now on, I will definitely listen to you. If you tell me to go east, I will definitely not go west. If you tell me to beat a dog, I will definitely not beat a chicken. Look at you. You still want a sword? Aren't you cheap? Originally, there was no problem, but you still caused a lot of trouble. And you still have to beg me in a humble voice. Cheap person. Jiyu Duxing snorted. Yes, yes. My mouth is cheap. My mouth is cheap. Ji Mo was about to die from hidden bitterness. He couldn't blame others for criticizing him. His mouth was a bit cheap. After setting up a fight, Jiyu Duxing saw that this guy was about to lose his temper. He no longer made things difficult for him and slowly went in. After a while, he took out a long sword and threw it in front of Ji Mo. Here, for you. Oh my. Don't break it. Ji Mo's face was full of heartache. He took a big stride forward and pulled out the long sword. Suddenly, a cold light reflected on the snow, awe-inspiring. Waha! My divine sword. Ji Mo held the long sword lovingly, completely forgetting his previous humility. He majestically brandished the sword a few times. He was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. Luo Kudi and Rui Bu Tong looked at this sword like wolves, full of envy. Ha ha ha. Ji Mo's face suddenly changed. He looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. He shouted murderously, Jiyu Duxing, second brother Jiyu. Come come come, pull out your black dragon sword. Little brother wants to spar with you in swordsmanship. Chu Yang and the other three staggered. They stared dumbfoundedly at this shameless guy who was tearing down the bridge after crossing the river. Countless black lines appeared on their foreheads. Waha, dog aunt. Dog aunt. Ji Mo's nose was in the air. He was insufferably arrogant. Under extreme ecstasy and excitement, he began to mumble some words that didn't belong to a human. Jiyu Duxing gave a look and shouted, Go! Beat up this dog aunt. With a whistling sound, the three of them gritted their teeth and bared their fangs and brandished their claws at the same time. They didn't look at the long sword in Ji Mo's hand. They simply pinned this guy to the ground and punched him. Ji Mo was caught off guard. His entire body fell flat on the ground and was firmly pressed into the snow. Jiyu Duxing rode on his neck. His 2 feet stepped on Ji Mo's elbows neither lightly nor heavily. A pair of fists fell down like raindrops. Woo woo. Woo. Goose nourishes liver, I don't dare. Ji Mo's mouth was deeply blocked under the snow. He let out muffled screams and begs for mercy. His 2 legs twitched and twitched. After a long while, Chu Yang stopped them. He restrained his laughter and pulled Ji Mo out of the snow. Ji Mo looked like a sesame seed cake. Ji Mo roared angrily and was about to fight. Okay, everyone, let's talk about the man in green we met today. Chu Yang's face was very serious. In your opinion, what is this person's level? Definitely emperor level, or even higher. When it came to business, the 4 guys became serious at the same time. Luo Kudi thought for a while and said with certainty, Well, I think so too. Jiyu Duxing resumed his cold face and said, And this person is very strange. He just showed his face and then left. His purpose, as he said this, Jiyu Duxing looked at Chu Yang. He knew that the reason why the man in green threw them out was to talk to Chu Yang alone. In other words, Chu Yang definitely knew that person's purpose. Chu Yang's face sank. Jiyu Duxing and the other 2 felt depressed. They couldn't help but look at each other and didn't continue this topic. Is there such an expert in your clan? Chu Yang asked. No. Jiyu Duxing said very straightforwardly. If Jiyu clan had an emperor-level expert, Jiyu clan's position in the 3 heavens would be completely stabilized. Jiyu Miaoling's crime wouldn't be a big deal. Our Ji clan has 2 ancestors. Cough cough, their auras are similar to that person's. But they are not as scary as this person. Ji Mo said hesitantly, but this matter is a secret. Well, our Luo clan also has 2. But they are not as good as that person. Luo Kudi was very straightforward. He blinked and said, This is also a secret. Jiyu Duxing and Chu Yang looked at each other. They both knew the situation of Jiyu clan. No wonder Jiyu clan was so angry when Jiyu Miaoling stole the elixir. It turned out that Jiyu clan's situation was really bad. Ji clan had an emperor-level expert, and Luo clan had an emperor-level expert. From this, it could be inferred that Heimo clan, Black Saber clan, Mo clan, and other similar clans must have emperor-level experts in secret. Otherwise, they wouldn't have maintained such a balance of power. But, Jiyu clan, which was also a super clan, only had a peak king-level expert. Although they were only one step away from emperor level, this step was like 1,000 mountains and 10,000 rivers. This distance was huge. So, that black-clothed person shouldn't be from the three heavens? Chu Yang asked. Yes, if such a person was in the three heavens, he would have caused a huge commotion. He wouldn't be so unknown. The four nodded. If such a person appeared in the three heavens, with their information network, they wouldn't have not heard of him. The four of them were very confident about this. That is the upper three seals. Chu Yang's eyes flashed with a complicated light. He raised his head and quietly looked at the white snow in the sky. His thoughts were far away, and he didn't know where they had drifted to. Upper three heavens, the two people who created my life and gave birth to me, are they in the upper three heavens? Chu Yang's heart suddenly became furious. You are in the upper three heavens, but you threw me to the lower three heavens. Emperor-level experts, humph. If the upper three heavens searched the lower three heavens, how could they not find me? Why was there no news for 17 years? Jiyu Du Xing and the others felt Chu Yang's abnormality, and no longer spoke. After a long time, in order to break this awkward silence, Jimo stretched his neck and smiled. After a while, I will go back. He paused and smiled. He scratched his head embarrassedly. The beginning of December is my birthday. Chapter 198. Heh. Jimo did not catch the hidden meaning this time. His face was a little red as he said, the main thing is that I have to celebrate this birthday with my mother. I heard that in order to give birth to me, my mother had a serious illness. The four of them fell silent. When it came to the elders, especially a sacred word like mother, no one dared to joke. Parents were the most respectable people in this world. Those who were unfilial to their parents were also the targets of disdain by the world. Filial piety was the most important virtue. This was the bottom line of morality in this heavenly realm. Ha, boss, when is your birthday? Shu Biyu Tong chuckled and said, when the time comes, we must have a good time. Miao Biyu Tong's words directly touched the deepest pain in Chu Yang's heart. I don't know when my birthday is. Chu Yang's voice was very calm, but behind this calmness, there seemed to be a fierce storm brewing. The corners of his eyes twitched uncontrollably. His voice was a little hoarse as he said, I was picked up by my master. He was silent for a moment. He raised his face, letting his face welcome the cold snow in the sky. He said quietly, I also don't know who my father is, who my mother is. What is my surname, what is my name? I have never celebrated my birthday. Chu Yang smiled faintly. He coughed lightly and said softly, I also don't know what it feels like to celebrate my birthday. And even more so, I don't know what it feels like to celebrate my mother's birthday. Ha! His expression was very calm, and his voice was very calm. There was no fluctuation. He even smiled. But in this calm voice, Jiyu Du Xing and Jimo could clearly feel that Chu Yang's heart was bleeding. It was as if his heart was splitting apart little by little. Boss, you still have us. Luo Kudi's heart warmed. He did not know why, but he actually had an impulse to cry. Shu Biyu Tong, Jimo, and Jiyu Du Xing also looked at Chu Yang with shining eyes. They said in unison, yes, you still have us. They did not expect Chu Yang's background to be so miserable. At this moment, their hearts suddenly became heavy. Yes, I still have you. Chu Yang smiled and said, I have always celebrated my birthday, but it's just one day. No. Among us brothers, besides you, our birthdays are also your birthdays, Jiyu Duxing said excitedly. Then, you can celebrate this birthday at least 5 times a year. 5 brothers will accompany you. No. Yes. Chu Yang smiled warmly and said, there's another one. He's my junior martial brother. His name is very strange. He's called Tan Tan. Talk. The 4 of them were tongue-tied. They couldn't understand why someone in this world would choose such a name. The epiphany of the epiphyllum. Chu Yang smiled and said, you guys don't know how interesting this little one is. He introduced Tan Tan to them while smiling. Then, he said, "You guys will surely like him if you see him. Especially his character. He is super narcissistic to the point of scaring people." Ha ha. Chu Yang couldn't help but smile as he recalled Tan Tan's appearance. "Is that so? Ha ha ha. Then I really want to broaden my horizons. Such a narcissistic guy is really rare." Gu Duxing and the others immediately became interested. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. In the Double Heavens continent, it was snowing in the lower three heavens. Iron Cloud was holding a funeral. Chu Yang was chatting with his brothers. Cheng Yun, he was still trekking in the snow. Diwu Qingru was still strategizing in the Prime Minister's mansion, waiting. The war at the border was temporarily suspended. The lower three heavens continent was only a little cold. There was no snow. It had been 7 days since Mo Tianji brought Mo Qing Wu back to the clan. In these 7 days, the Mo clan seemed to have changed completely. Mo Tianji sat cross-legged in his abode. In front of him was a small and exquisite tea table. On the tea table, steam rose and the fragrance of tea filled the room. It looked very relaxed. But now, Mo Tianji's handsome face had a hint of anger and worry. Mo Tianji had always been expressionless. For him to show such an expression, it was usually something that was far beyond his control. Thinking of the day when he had just returned to the clan, Mo Tianji felt like he was about to explode. But he couldn't bear it. That day when he returned to the clan, what surprised him was that his elder brother, Mo Tianyun, who was supposed to be training in the lower three heavens, was also at home. He held his little sister's hand and just entered the clan. He bumped into him. Mo Tianji's original intention was to return as soon as possible and avoid Mo Tianyun. Then, he would explain the situation of his little sister. As long as his elder brother and his henchmen were not present, everything would be much easier to discuss. At least, he could delay for a while. But he didn't expect to bump into him as soon as he came back. Well, looking at this situation, Mo Tianyun seemed to have specially waited for his return. "Oh, you're back." Mo Tianyun's mouth hooked up, revealing a bewitching smile. Compared to Mo Tianji's calmness, Mo Tianyun seemed a little gloomy and feminine. His eyes were slender and often squinted, shooting out chilling rays of light. And, this was what Mo Tianji disliked the most. "You are scary." "Fine. As long as you know how scary you are, it's fine. Why do you have to pretend to be a poisonous snake? Are you afraid that others don't know how scary you are?" Mo Tianji had always disdained his elder brother's behavior. "How many days have you been back?" Mo Tianji calmly asked. Mo Qing Wu timidly pulled her second brother's hand. Half of her small body hid behind him. She timidly called out to her elder brother in a low voice. "Little sister is also back." Mo Tianyun smiled at Mo Qing Wu. Then, he raised his head and looked at his younger brother. He lightly said, "Yes, I have been back for 7 or 8 days. "Well, elder brother has been guarding the door for these 7 or 8 days. Are you tired?" Mo Tianji's eyes quietly flashed with a trace of anger. He didn't want to provoke Mo Tianyun verbally, but the anger in his heart at this moment made him feel like he couldn't control it, because the one who was hurt was the little sister he cared about the most. Mo Qing Wu. Mo Tianyun came back 7 or 8 days ago. Basically, he stayed in the lower three heavens for less than a month. Then, he went down and came back. Why? During this period of time, how could he not know about the attack on him and his little sister? But, he didn't do anything and went straight home. Moreover, after returning home, he waited at the door for his return. It was as if he had a card up his sleeve and prepared everything properly. This made Mo Tianji think of some frightening things. His heart was filled with coldness and anger. How can you be tired guarding the door every day? Mo Tianyun softly said, "As long as I can see second brother and little sister come back safely, I am willing to stand at the door for a lifetime." "Thank you, elder brother. Little brother really doesn't know how to repay big brother's kindness to us." Mo Tianji gently took a breath and suppressed the churning emotions in his heart. His face revealed a grateful expression as he softly said, Mo Tianyun looked at Mo Tianji's expression and had an impulse to fiercely punch this handsome face in front of him. Mo Tianji had always been like this. No matter what happened, even if his lungs were about to explode from anger, his face would not show the slightest bit of anger, just like the grateful expression on his face at this moment. It made people know that it was fake, but they couldn't find any fault with it. I heard that little sister was injured. Mo Tianyun asked with concern. Mo Tianji shook his head in shame. Then, he sorrowfully said, "It's all because of this useless elder brother of mine. This elder brother of mine has the heart of a wolf and the lungs of a dog. He is worse than a beast. He didn't take good care of his little sister. So, this elder brother of mine should be hacked into pieces and left without a complete corpse." Mo Tianyun suddenly became angry. Mo Tianji gritted his teeth in self-reproach. But, in fact, he was scolding himself with every sentence. How could Mo Tianyun not know this? Second brother, you don't need to blame yourself. Everyone has their own misfortunes and blessings. Everything is predestined by the will of the heavens. You can't force it. Mo Tianyun lightly said, even if little sister is injured, it may not be a bad thing for her. At least, she doesn't have to rush into the wilderness and save her life. I am the big brother. Don't fight. If you fight, you won't be able to keep your life. Mo Tianji gently smiled and said with a sigh of approval, Big brother is right. Even the emperors of the world have times when there is a change of dynasty. There is also a time when the family is ruined. Who can say for sure what the will of the heavens is? Don't think that you are safe. After Mo Tianji finished speaking, the two brothers no longer spoke. One stood inside the door and the other outside. Saisha quietly looked at each other. Both pairs of eyes were sharp and threatening. But, both of them were smiling as if they were brothers who had just met after a long time and were chatting intimately. Mo Qingwu cowered behind her second brother. Her small face was pale. Since childhood, she was most afraid of her two elder brothers when they were together. Every time, both of them would have a warm smile on their faces and would say warm words. Sometimes, they would discuss enthusiastically. Sometimes, they would praise together. Sometimes, they would sigh together. She seemed to be able to understand every word they said, but she didn't seem to understand every word they said. Regardless of whether they were being intimate or speaking calmly, she couldn't help but feel chills all over her body. During the whole process, the two king-level masters stood behind Mo Tianji and did not say a word. Behind Mo Tianyun, there were also two king-level masters. They were like clay sculptures. Oh, look at my carelessness. Mo Tianyun patted his forehead. Little brother and little sister are coming home and I actually stopped them at the door. Ha ha ha, if outsiders saw this, they would think that I am too much. Ha ha, second brother, little sister, come in quickly. Father has been talking about you two every day. He said that you two are smart. In the future, the three of us will work together and bring glory to the Mo clan. Ha ha, he especially said that second brother's wisdom is unparalleled in the world. You will be my number one helper in the future. Father has already said that you are only a subordinate. You can be a helper, but you can't make the decision. The one who has the final say is still me. Big brother is right. Blocking the entrance like this is indeed an eyesore. If someone were to see this, they would think that this younger brother of mine is arrogant and domineering. So, I am blocking Big Brother's path and making it difficult for Big Brother to pass. With me here, you can't pass. Chapter 199. The two brothers' faces were full of smiles. They were friendly and natural, from the bottom of their hearts. Anyone who saw them would be envious of them. Look at the two brothers of the Mo clan. They have such a good relationship. They could even wear the same pants. No one knew that in the hearts of these two brothers, they had already regarded each other as irreconcilable foes. The guards at the door watched the two young masters go in. They shuddered and rolled up their sleeves. Everyone's arms were full of goosebumps. The murderous intention hidden in the two brothers' friendliness and gentleness was too frightening. As for the two brothers, who were walking further and further away, they were still having a friendly conversation. Second brother, is Xiao Wu's injury serious? Mo Tianyun asked worriedly, who did it? It's very serious. Mo Tianji's eyes flashed with murderous intention. He coldly said, "It's the Heimo clan. They are heartless bastards. They actually injured Xiao Wu's 3 yin meridians. I am very angry about this. Don't worry, big brother. Little brother has already sworn an oath. If that heartless bastard still wants to make a move on little sister, little brother will not hesitate to drag that heartless bastard down to hell with me." Mo Qingwu's injury could not be concealed. If the clan investigated, it would be very easy to find out. It was better to be straightforward. My little sister's 3 yin meridians are already destroyed. If you still want to hurt her, then even if I can't get the Mo clan, you can also forget about getting it. Heartless bastard. Mo Tianyun murmured. His eyes flashed with murderous intention. He heavily said, "That's right. The Heimo clan is under my Mo clan. So, I won't forgive such a heartless bastard who offended me. If I see him, I will definitely cut him into pieces. If you dare to offend your superior, I will dare to clean you up." Once again, the 2 brothers looked at each other with a tacit smile on their faces. The 4 king-level masters who followed the 2 brothers all felt their palms sweating. Their whole body was cold. Following these 2 young masters was really a test of their heart's endurance. Especially when the 2 of them were together, it was simply torture for the people around them. Mo Tianyun suddenly stopped and stood with his hands behind his back. With an expressionless face, he said, "Uncle Chengyu, do you know your crime?" Mo Chengyu's face turned pale. He bowed and said, "Yes, your subordinate knows his mistake. Ian, as the young lady's guardian, you actually neglected your duty and carelessness, causing the young lady to suffer such irreparable harm. Mo Chengyu, have all these years of peace turned you into an idiot?" Mo Tianyun's eyes flashed coldly. This subordinate is guilty. Mo Chengyu's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. His heart was full of excuses. But it was a fact that Mo Qingwu had suffered such serious injuries. Moreover, Mo Tianyun clearly wants to use me to show Mo Tianji his power. If he tried to explain himself, he was afraid that he would be killed on the spot. Mo Tianji wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't. A moment ago, Mo Tianyun had spoken in the capacity of an elder brother. But now, he was speaking in the capacity of a young clan lord. If he interfered now, he would be committing a crime. Ian, since you know your crime, this young clan lord will announce the clan's decision. Mo Tianyun was expressionless. Mo Chengyu's negligence is unforgivable. But, since he has always been meritorious, we will not punish him severely. Instead, we will remove him from his guardian position. He will take his family to Kanglan battlefront and serve the clan. Mo Chengyu's body trembled. Isn't this driving me away from the young lady's side? Elder brother, aren't you going overboard? Mo Tianji frowned. If it wasn't for Mo Chengyu risking his life to protect her, would little sister still be alive? Mo Chengyu might have done something wrong, but this is too harsh. This is the decision of the clan's elders. Mo Tianyun sighed and said, "Second brother, I don't want to do this, but I am not the clan lord yet. The one in charge of the clan is, of course, father. Could it be that you have an objection to father's decision? Who do you think you are? You dare to point your finger? I will explain to father." Mo Tianji said casually. "I hope you can succeed and save Uncle Chengyu from the pain of a long journey." Mo Tianyun's eyes flashed with a trace of mockery. "I don't want Uncle Chengyu to leave me." Mo Qingwu protested timidly. "Little sister, be good. This is an adult's matter. Do you understand?" Mo Tianyun smiled and gently stroked Mo Qingwu's hair as he comforted her. Mo Qingwu's body trembled. Her face flashed with a trace of fear as she gently took half a step back. Mo Tianyun's eyes flashed with a trace of gloominess. He smiled and said, "Let's go. Father is still waiting for you." Father and the elders of the Council of Elders are all very concerned about little sister's injuries. Mo Tianji's face twisted as he recalled this. He gritted his teeth so hard that they creaked. Just like that, once they returned to the clan, they immediately called for a meeting to pass judgment on Mo Chengyu. The next morning, he was ordered to take his family and leave the clan for Kanglan battlefront. Even though he tried to argue, in the face of the clan's authority, No amount of wisdom could help. The Elders Guild didn't even give him a chance to reason with them. They were heartless. Immediately after, they examined little sister's body. One by one, they sighed helplessly. Their eyes were filled with pity. Mo Tianji still remembered that his little sister was tightly hugging the saber that Chu Yang had given her. She was standing in the hall, trembling. Her originally lively eyes were now like a pitiful little rabbit. Looking at this and looking at that delicate and pitiful appearance made his heart ache on the spot. He still remembered that his little sister was crying as she threw herself into father's arms. Father had already reached out his hand, but his face showed a conflicted expression as he pulled it back. At that time, his little sister stopped in her tracks and stood in front of father in a daze. Tears flowed down her white cheeks. Poof! Mo Tianji angrily slammed his fist on the tea table. Even though Mo Qingwu was young, her sensitive heart had already sensed that something was wrong. The elders who were originally kind and amiable were now looking at her strangely. Regret, anger, disappointment. But there was no love, no pity. Even her father, who had always liked her, turned his face away and sighed when she looked at him. Mo Qingwu was perplexed. Her young heart was full of fear and uneasiness. Boundless fear flooded her in an instant. She didn't understand what was going on. Why did everything change after I went out to play once? Mo Qingwu felt as if she had fallen into an ice cave. For a moment, she felt as if she was floating and her soul had left her body. At that moment, she could not help but think of Chu Yang. She thought of Chu Yang's eyes that were filled with love and doting. That was a complete protection. Suddenly, Mo Qingwu's young heart yearned to return to Chu Yang's side. Her heart was calling out to him continuously and she was crying. Brother Chu Yang, where are you? When are you coming to see little Wu? Little Wu is really pitiful now. Mo Tianji frowned tightly. He already felt that something was wrong. Mo Tianyun came back 8 days earlier than him and had already arranged everything in the clan, including Mo Qingwu's treatment. Even though the clan did not explicitly state this, Mo Tianji knew that Mo Tianyun would not leave it out. Mo Tianji racked his brains to think of a way to make his little sister's life more comfortable. He did not expect to give Mo Qingwu the same treatment as before. Mo Qingyu's departure was a clear signal. Mo Tianyun would have an overwhelming advantage in the power struggle between him and Mo Qingwu if he were to eliminate the power of Mo Qingwu's side. Mo Tianji grabbed the edge of the tea table and murmured, "You are wrong. Mo Tianyun, if you did not see me as an opponent, I would not have fought with you. Unfortunately, it was because of your own suspicions that you took the initiative to deal with me. That was the reason why you made a strong enemy for yourself. Now that you have done this to little Wu, you and I cannot live under the same sky." Thinking of this, he smiled bitterly. When he was young, his big brother was his idol. He had always been proud of his big brother because he was only 5 years older than him. But he had done things that he did not even dare to think about. At that time, he always thought that as long as the two of them were together, and he always listened to his big brother, the Mo clan would be able to flourish even when the two of them were injured. In these 3 days, the clan would not fall. However, since a few years ago, he inexplicably encountered a series of crises, and then he unintentionally found out that his big brother was targeting him. He began to change. He was no longer the Mo Tianji of the past. Because if he maintained his previous attitude, it would be equivalent to seeking death. His wisdom was also honed little by little in this kind of environment. However, compared to his big brother, who was 10 years older than him, he had always been the weaker one. Only in these 2 years, when his wisdom had matured, did he slowly reverse the situation. But now, because Mo Qingwu was close to him, she encountered this kind of thing. Nothing in this world is a coincidence. Mo Tianji had always believed in this saying. Coincidences are inevitable. Even if the He Mo clan had the ability to reach the heavens, they would not know his whereabout. But they had accurately grasped it and set up an ambush at the right time. Mo Tianji could not think of any other explanation for all of this. Mo Tianyun's early return was tantamount to a showdown with him, or perhaps, he thought that his little sister's power had been eradicated, and that he was already victorious and the situation was already set. He was really gauging the stature of a great man with the yardstick of a villain. You should know that I have never thought of using my little sister's power to protect her. That is my little sister's power. I want to use my own power to defeat you fair and square. How can a person like you, who is used to scheming against others, understand my pride? Mo Tianji closed his eyes and sighed. Second young master, the clan head sent someone to inform you to attend the clan meeting. He said that there is an important decision. A voice interrupted Mo Tianji's thoughts. This news made Mo Tianji's body tremble violently. Chapter 200. And now, Mo Qingwu's small body was curled up in the corner of her room. Her face was full of tears and her mouth was flat. She wanted to cry but did not dare to. She could only cry in her heart, "Brother Chu Yang, I'm so pitiful. They're all bullying me. Come quickly." In these past few days, Mo Qingwu sensitively felt that even the maids by her side were treating her differently from before. For the past few days, every time his mother saw him, she would hug him and cry, tears would flow out. She was full of sorrow and ignorance. Mo Qingwu faintly felt that something bad was about to happen to her. This was an ominous premonition, but she could not do anything. She opened her frightened eyes and blankly looked at these changes. It seemed that the only thing that could give her a sense of security was the saber in her hand. Brother Chu Yang's saber. The Mo clan's clan meeting finally began. When Mo Tianji walked into this hall, his heart suddenly sank. In the hall, incense smoke lingered. The ancestral tablets were brought out and placed on the incense table at the top. On the opposite seat, his father Mo Xingchen sat with a serious face. There were 4 chairs on both sides of the room. On each of the chairs sat a person from the spiritual basket. Some of them had white hair, some of them had white hair, and some of them had black hair and a youthful face. However, Mo Tianji knew that these people were about the same age. So, he couldn't tell anything from their appearances. Because these were the 8 great elders of the Mo clan, the 2 men closest to his father's seat were, in fact, the 2 ancestors with the highest cultivation and the most prestige in the family. Big brother Mo Tianyun was dressed in white and sat on the left side. Opposite him, there was an empty seat. It was no doubt his own seat. Below the 2 of them, there were 7 or 8 chairs. On them sat the clan members and important experts of the Mo clan. Everyone was silent. The atmosphere was very oppressive. Mo Tianji's heart sank to the bottom. Even the ancestral tablets were brought out. Obviously, Heaven Umbrella was going to make a big decision, and this decision was definitely related to Mo Qingwu. Little sister was not here yet. Mo Tianji slowly walked in with a gloomy face. He straightened his back and fixed his gaze on his father's face. He wanted to find a trace of warmth from his father's dignified face for his little sister. Mo Tianji was finally disappointed. Mo Xingchen's face was devoid of any expression. Only when his gaze met with his son, a sliver of sadness quietly flashed across his eyes. Mo Tianji sensitively captured this trace of sadness. He immediately stopped in front of his seat. He slowly turned around and faced Mo Tianyun. This was the person closest to him and his little sister. Blood was thicker than water. Mo Tianyun's eyes flashed with a trace of delight. Mo Tianji's eyes, however, flashed with a trace of coldness. Since you are heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. Mo Tianji didn't say anything. He slowly sat down on his seat. Only Mo Tianji and Mo Tianyun were wearing snow-white robes. The 2 of them were sitting opposite each other. They looked calm on the surface. However, everyone in the hall could clearly feel an aura surging between these 2 brothers when Mo Tianji sat down. Today, I've gathered everyone here because I have an important announcement to make. Mo Xingchen's 3 strands of long beard fluttered despite the lack of wind. His lips trembled slightly as he lightly shouted, "Bring Mo Qingwu up." Mo Tianji's pupils violently contracted. At the door, Mo Qingwu was led in by 2 female servants. She walked in fearfully and timidly. Her little face was deathly pale. In her arms, she was hugging a worn-out-looking saber. She hugged it so tightly that it was as if this saber was her only consolation. She stood alone in the middle of the hall. She looked at her father pitifully. Then, She looked left and right timidly. Finally, her strong pleading gaze fell on her second brother's face. Her small lips trembled like a small blade of grass in the wind. Mo Tianji suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart. He couldn't bear to look at his little sister's pitiful appearance. He sadly lowered his gaze. Mo Qingwu's eyes immediately filled with tears. She stared at Mo Tianji for a while before finally lowering her head. Mo Tianji wanted to say something, but he realized that his little sister had already lowered her head. Her soft hair covered her face. She looked so helpless. Mo Tianji didn't know that he lowered his head today because he couldn't bear to see his little sister's pitiful appearance. It wasn't that he didn't want to help her, but he neglected the fact that Mo Qingwu was at her weakest moment. She already knew the fate that she was about to face. Mo Tianji's lowering of his head was equivalent to completely destroying the last hope in Mo Qingwu's heart. This made Mo Qingwu stubbornly believe that in the entire Mo clan, except for her mother, no one else was good to her. Even her second brother, who was usually closest to her, didn't help her. This matter left a serious shadow in Mo Qingwu's heart. If Mo Tianji knew that Mo Qingwu had such a misunderstanding, he would probably hug his little sister in his arms even if he died. But he didn't know. Mo Qingwu's head was lowered. She just stared at the saber in her arms. It seemed that the saber still had Chu Yang's warmth. She couldn't even hear what the others were saying. Mo Xingchen sighed and said, Mo Qingwu was still a child. She insisted on going to the Mo clan's training, but because of this, she caused a big disaster. Everyone in the hall looked down and didn't say a word. They just listened quietly. The Heimo clan's ambush caused Mo Qingwu to be seriously injured. The Heimo Sword King's one-sword palace caused serious consequences. Mo Xingchen let out a heavy breath and said, Mo Qingwu's 3-yin meridian was completely destroyed. Without a doubt, this was the result of the Mo clan's elders' investigation. Suddenly, people in the hall started to whisper. Many people already knew about this matter, but there were still some who didn't know. In the 3 heavens, the weak are prey to the strong. Only with strong martial strength can one survive. Our Mo clan is founded on martial strength. We also value this point very much. The competition among the younger generation is also very cruel. But only with such cruel competition can we ensure that our Mo clan will continue to exist for a long time. Mo Xingchen's voice was very heavy, therefore, our clan spared no effort in nurturing those who were talented, no matter if they were male or female. We didn't hesitate to raise their strength at all cost. Mo Qingwu has 3-yin meridian and is valued by the entire clan. All cultivation materials are given priority. Whether it is food, clothing, housing, or transportation, they are all better than their peers. For this reason, the clan has already worked hard for 7 years. Mo Xingchen's voice was a little hoarse as he said, but now, Mo Qingwu's 3-yin meridian has been destroyed. So, the clan has decided to remove Mo Qingwu from her previous position. We will take revenge for the Heimo clan, but, with her 3-yin meridian destroyed, she will forever be a revered martial artist. Piling up a large amount of resources is already a waste. Mo Xingchen closed his eyes and looked at his daughter. A trace of pity flashed through his eyes. After the joint research of the clan and the elders, we will definitely, wait. Mo Tianji calmly raised his hand and interrupted him. Father, I have something to say. What? What is it that you have to say that you have to interrupt father's announcement? Mo Tianyun sat on the opposite side and slowly said, Second brother, I beg of you. Before you speak in front of the ancestral tablets in front of so many people, please think about saving some face for our father. Mo Tianyun, you are so vicious. Mo Tianji completely gave up on this big brother of his at this moment. Mo Tianyun's words were neither fast nor slow, but it put him in the most awkward position. Moreover, with this sentence in front of him, the first impression was the strongest. No matter what he said, it would be greatly discounted. What words? Speak. Mo Xingchen's face darkened. Little sister's injury is not incurable. Mo Tianji said, in the lower 3 heavens, I once met a strange person. He once said that if he was given a year's time, he would be able to prepare the medicine to reconnect little sister's 3-yin meridian. I can swear on my life that this is not a lie. A strange person in the lower three heavens? Mo Xingchen's voice was a little strange. In the hall, many people's faces revealed mocking smiles. Do you know that these few days, 2 elders and I went to the upper 3 heavens? Mo Xingchen was a little angry. He was very dissatisfied with his son's careless words. We found the drug god. When he heard about the 3 yin meridian being destroyed, he returned all the gifts we sent. Drug god. The number 1 doctor in the upper 3 heavens. His medical skills were superb. However, he had a strange rule. He only treated 1 person in a day. Even so, the medicine god valley was still as busy as a marketplace. Everyone was horrified. Everyone was even a little surprised. The clan master actually found the drug god for his daughter's injury. How much did he have to pay? Everyone knew why the drug god returned the gifts. That was because the drug god could not do anything about Mo Qingwu's injury. Even the drug god could not do it. You found a strange person in the lower 3 heavens to treat her. It's fine if you speak carelessly, but you actually used your own life to guarantee it. This was what made Mo Xingchen the most dissatisfied. I also know that this matter is difficult to convince, but, Father, please believe me this once. Mo Tianji straightened his body and said resolutely. Mo Xingchen was silent. Haha, yes, second brother. Little sister is injured. Every one of us is burning with anxiety. Every one of us is in great pain. Do you think you are the only one who is sad? Mo Tianyun sighed, but, the truth is the truth. Even the drug god could not do anything. But you say a doctor in the lower 3 heavens can? Second brother. This is a clan meeting. You. Don't be unreasonable. Mo Tianji's handsome face suddenly turned red. At this moment, the last bit of brotherly affection in his heart disappeared without a trace. He could not wait to strangle Mo Tianyun. Too insidious. How could he do this to his own little brother and little sister? All right, you don't have to say anything. Mo Xingchen shouted. Mo Tianji still wanted to say something, but the black-robed elder at the top slowly opened his eyes and looked at Mo Tianji. Tianji, if you say one more word, there will be no place for you here. Chapter 201. In the depths of Mo Tianyun's eyes, a trace of pride and schadenfreude flashed. Obviously, Mo Tianji's careless words had angered the elder. Mo Tianji stood quietly for a while, then sat down without a word. His face was still calm, but the coldness in his eyes was getting heavier and heavier. Mo Tianji wanted to leave, but once he left, no one would speak up for his little sister, so he still sat down. The clan has decided. Mo Xingchen looked at Mo Tianji with some blame and said, First, Mo Qingwu's cultivation resources will be revoked. From today onwards, she will be sent as a normal disciple. Second, Mo Qingwu's right to inherit the Red Dust Pavilion will be revoked. The Red Dust Pavilion will be inherited by another outstanding female disciple. Third, Mo Qingwu's position as a core disciple of the clan will be revoked. Fourth, Mo Qingwu's right to live in the inner court will be revoked. From today onwards, she will move out of the inner court. Fifth, all her benefits will be revoked. The clan will deal with her separately. Sixth, revoked. With each announcement, Mo Tianji's face became redder and redder, then it turned pale. His hands clenched into fists, and his fingernails dug deep into his flesh. Mo Qingwu stood with her head lowered, looking at the saber in her arms, as if she did not hear anything. For a young girl like her, this kind of punishment was too cruel. Every announcement of her father's decision was like a clap of thunder, a series of explosions in her head. It shook her until she was dizzy, as if the whole world had left her at this moment. Father. Mo Tianji finally could not help but stand up fiercely. I have something important to report. Mo Tianji's voice interrupted Mo Xingchen's words once again. As a scheming person, Mo Tianji clearly knew the consequences of his actions. But at this moment, for the sake of his younger sister, he decided to go all out. He did not know and was not sure if it would be good or bad for him to speak of this matter now. Would it cause more harm to his little sister? He had seriously considered this issue before, and thought that it was better not to speak of it. But now, he changed his mind. If he did not speak now, His little sister would be finished when his father finished announcing it. Her life would be ruined. Even though Mo Tianji was not certain, and even though he was willing to take a risk, Mo Tianji would rather risk it all. This was the first time in Mo Tianji's life that he had done something that he wasn't sure of. What important favor! This time, Mo Xingchen opened his mouth before anyone could berate him. Although his voice was gloomy, it made Mo Tianji happy. This was the only opportunity that his father had fought for him in front of the family's interest. I won't be able to say anything if the elders open their mouths first and everyone attacks me together. I don't know if father has noticed the saber in Xiao Wu's hand. Mo Tianji clenched his teeth and hardened his heart. Then, he finally spoke. He originally wanted to keep this saber a secret and let his little sister keep it for self-defense. However, at this moment, this saber had become Mo Qingwu's biggest bargaining chip. As long as the family values this saber, then his little sister's position would not be too awkward. At the very least, he could change the environment for his younger sister, to preserve some of the benefits. As for the saber, it would never break. Mo Tianji had already decided, if it was really the worst outcome, then one day, he would take back this saber for his little sister. However, the most important thing now was not this saber, but a chance for his little sister to breathe. A chance for her to grow. This saber? Mo Xingchen asked doubtfully. Yes. This saber was given to Xiao Wu by the benefactor who saved her. Mo Tianji said deeply, this saber is an ancient treasure saber. It is a peerless treasure saber. Moreover, this saber's name is dreaming of a gentle dance saber. It is also heaven's will for it to fall into Xiao Wu's hand. Mo Tianji's words were not very clear, but once he said it, everyone understood what he meant. This saber is an ancient treasure saber, but it has Mo Qingwu's name on it. This is a coincidence, and also heaven's favor. How could a person blessed by heaven become a useless person? For a moment, everyone's gaze was on Mo Qingwu. However, Mo Qingwu suddenly raised her head and looked at Mo Tianji. She was completely in disbelief. Why did second brother mention this saber? Don't you know that this saber is the only thing I can keep now? Xiao Wu, let me see your saber. After Mo Tianji finished speaking, Mo Qingwu still stood there indifferently. Mo Xingchen could not help but say. Mo Qingwu's mind was in a mess, and she felt that everything was so unreal. Her father, who used to adore her, had suddenly become a stranger. Her ancestors, who used to adore her, no longer seemed to recognize her. Even her second brother, who had always been the closest to her, did not dare to look at her. Furthermore, he had even revealed her biggest secret. At her current age, she still did not know that if she was really stripped of everything according to her father's announcement, her status in this clan would fall from the peak to the bottom. She would not even be comparable to a maid in the side room. As for the words that followed, she did not hear them. Her entire person had collapsed. Although she was still here, she could no longer think or move. Little sister, give me the saber. Mo Tianji walked in front of her, squatted down and said softly, let father see. As he spoke, he reached out to take the saber in Mo Qingwu's hand. When he reached out, his palms were already full of sweat. This saber was his little sister's favorite, and it was also her only hope at present. He did not know what would happen after she took it out. But no matter what, this was the last step in front of him. Feeling that someone was snatching the saber in her hand, Mo Qingwu instinctively tightened her grip. Then, she fiercely hugged herself and screamed, don't snatch my saber, don't snatch my saber. With a scream, her eyes and face were full of tears. Tears flowed down her jade-like cheeks and dripped onto the ground. Mo Tianji's heart ached. He said, little sister, I'm not trying to snatch your saber. It's father who wants to see it. Mo Qingwu hugged dreaming of a gentle dance saber tightly. Her eyes were full of fear. Don't snatch my saber. Brother Chu Yang gave it to me, Xiao Wu. Mo Xingchen shouted, give it to me. Mo Qingwu only felt numb all over. The next moment, the saber was already in Mo Xingchen's hand. Once the saber was in his hand, Mo Xingchen was shocked. Because this saber was as light as a feather. My saber. Mo Qingwu shouted. Mo Qingwu screamed. Suddenly, she looked at her empty hands in a daze, and tears fell down her cheeks in a pitter-patter. The next moment, Mo Xingchen reached out. With a swoosh, the saber was unsheathed. The whole hall was shrouded in red light. In the red light, starlight twinkled. More than 30 people in the hall stood up at the same time. Good saber. Just by looking at the dazzling red light, one could tell that this saber was definitely a peerless divine item. There was actually someone who would give such a saber to an ignorant little girl for her to play with. At this moment, everyone in the Mo clan had the same thought. Could it be that this person was an idiot? Xingchen, is this saber very light? The voice of the elder who scolded Mo Tianji just now was trembling. His eyes were fixed on the saber, emitting a dazzling light. This elder was called Mo Wuxin. He was the only remaining elder of the Mo clan and also one of the emperor-level martial artists. Yes, the entire saber is no more than 4 ounces. Mo Xingchen held the saber as if he didn't feel anything at all. No more than 4 ounces. Mo Wuxin sucked in a breath of cold air and said impatiently, "Let me see." The next moment, Mo Wuxin caressed the saber very carefully. His pale face suddenly flushed red. He murmured, "It is indeed red cloud steel." And Xingchen, no. Mo Wuxin frowned and checked carefully. Then, he said in shock, "Red cloud steel essence. Star iron essence." He casually grabbed the saber from the waist of a Mo clan expert at the door. With a swoosh, the saber flew over. Then, he held the saber with one hand and raised the saber high in the air with the other hand. Then, he let go. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the sheathed sword landed lightly on the saber's blade. With a soft sound, it broke into 2 and fell to the ground with a clang. The hall was dead silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the saber. How could the saber of a clan expert be ordinary? But it fell without any resistance. It was like a knife cutting through tofu. It didn't even make a sound before it broke. And it was sheathed. Just how sharp was this saber? There had never been such a divine weapon in the Heaven Layer continent. This was a priceless treasure. Gently tilting the saber, Mo Wuxin whispered, dreaming of a gentle dance, overturning the mortal world. Overturning the mortal world. This saber is indeed overturning the mortal world. Xingchen, this saber is definitely the #1 treasure saber in the Heaven Layer continent. Mo Wuxin looked at the saber lovingly. Such a treasure saber has come to our Mo clan. It is a great fate. You must take good care of it. As he spoke, he returned the saber to its sheath and reluctantly handed it to Mo Xingchen. This saber was given to little sister by that benefactor. Mo Tianji took a breath and said, "That benefactor said that this saber only belongs to little sister. Little sister is the owner of this saber," Mo Tianji said seriously. Everyone understood what he meant. This saber belonged to Mo Qingwu. And it was given to Mo Qingwu by the benefactor of the Mo clan. It only belonged to Mo Qingwu. It could not belong to anyone else. No one is allowed to spread the news that this saber is in the Mo clan. Mo Wuxin's eyes flashed as he looked at everyone's face seriously. Everyone nodded in unison. Their eyes were burning. Everyone knew what such a treasured saber meant. The treasure saber had been returned to its sheath. But the amazing scene just now had been engraved in everyone's minds forever. Only belongs to Xiao Wu. Mo Xingchen frowned. Such a treasure saber in the hands of a child with no future, was it not a great waste and a great risk? Chapter 202. I don't want to threaten the clan. I only hope that my little sister can live a better life. Mo Tianji took a step forward and knelt in front of Mo Xingchen. "Father, please take into account that Xiao Wu is the owner of this saber. Please, protect Xiao Wu well. As long as this saber was in Mo Qingwu's hands, the clan's protection for Mo Qingwu would be far greater than before. Even though she still could not have the original cultivation resources, Mo Qingwu's situation would be much better. In the heavenly realm, kindness was valued, filial piety was valued, and friendship was valued. These were the mainstream of morality. If one was not an ungrateful person, one would never give away something given by a benefactor. This was a matter of principle. This was also Mo Tianji's greatest confidence in taking this risk. It was also his greatest desire. His greatest desire. Mo Xingchen's eyes showed struggle and contradiction. The whispers in the hall suddenly grew louder. Everyone was whispering to each other. Second brother, you are too naive. Do you really think that little sister has the ability to keep this saber? Mo Tianyun sneered, you put this saber in little sister's hands. Do you love her or do you want to harm her? What do you mean? Mo Tianji said coldly, this is father's decision. Father has not made a decision yet. What nonsense are you spouting? Don't tell me, you want to covet your own sister's saber? I am not that despicable. Mo Tianyun sneered and turned to Mo Xingchen. Father, I think that this saber cannot be put in little sister's hand. Little sister is young. She does not have the ability to keep this saber. If this saber is placed in her hands, it will instead bring her a fatal disaster. Mo Tianyun said, when the time comes, not only will little sister be in danger, this saber will also fall into the hands of the enemy and become a great weapon against our Mo clan. It will bring great disaster to our Mo clan. Mo Xingchen was silent. Father, can you bear to see little sister not only be crippled but also be in danger because of a saber? Mo Tianyun said sincerely and worriedly, Father, please reconsider. Mo Tianyun, you are talking nonsense. As long as the family strengthens the protection of little sister, how could little sister be harmed? Mo Tianji angrily said, moreover, this saber is a gift from our benefactor. Do you want our Mo clan to become a heartless and ungrateful clan? Ungrateful? Humph. Mo Tianji, if you don't take responsibility for your benefactor's gift, then you are truly ungrateful. Mo Tianyun gave tit for tat and said, moreover, how do you explain the words ruthless and unintentional? Could it be that you think that our Mo clan is heartless? Mo Tianji sneered and said, who is the heartless one? Who is the ungrateful one? Everyone knows in their hearts. Mo Tianyun, you are forcing your own little sister like this. She's only a year and a half, but her 3-yin meridian is already crippled. I'm trying to protect her. Mo Tianyun angrily said, Mo Tianji, you shouldn't think of other people in this way. Everyone in this hall is as loyal to the family as you are to Xiao Wu. But don't forget that little sister's name is on that saber. This is heaven's will. Mo Tianji said coldly, you want to go against heaven's will? Everyone's expression changed. Go against heaven's will. Since ancient times, the word heaven had always been supreme. Who dared to offend it? That's just a coincidence. Mo Tianyun sneered, just like my name, you can find the words Tianyun in many ancient books. There are even records of this from 10,000 years ago. If that's the case, then am I not following heaven's will? Following heaven's will? Are you worthy? Mo Tianji was furious. The two elders were at each other's throats. Their eyes were shining. Even Mo Tianji, who was known for his calmness, had an ominous glint in his eyes. The two brothers were going at it in front of the clan master, all the clan elders, in front of everyone in the clan, and in front of the ancestral tablet. It was on the verge of breaking out. Enough. Zhen Xingchen slammed the table and angrily said, are the two of you rebelling? Do you still have any sense of shame for your brothers to engage in such a filthy act in front of everyone? Both of you, sit down. Mo Tianji and Mo Tianyun looked at each other fiercely. They both snorted and sat back down. Old ancestor, this saber. Mo Xingchen probed. This saber is a priceless treasure. How can it be in the hands of a useless little girl? Mo Wuxin rolled his eyes and said lightly, you are the clan master. Don't tell me, you don't know how to make a decision for such a thing. Elder. Mo Tianji almost didn't dare to believe his ears. How can my ancestor say such words? No need to say more. Mo Wuxin snorted and said, we have no choice. If Mo Qingwu wasn't crippled, there's nothing wrong with her having this saber. But she has no future now. Do you want to keep the best resources? This saber was given to Mo Qingwu by our benefactor. But no matter what, Mo Qingwu is still a member of the Mo clan. In other words, this was given to the Mo clan by our benefactor. So, how is it ungrateful for the Mo clan to keep it? Mo Wuxin rolled his eyes and looked at Mo Tianji with a disdainful sneer in his eyes. Tianji, do you have any objections to what this old man has just said? Yes. I have a big objection. Mo Tianji suddenly stood up. He also didn't know why he was so impulsive today. This saber doesn't belong to the Mo clan. It belongs to my little sister, Mo Qingwu. Impudent. Mo Wuxin raised his hand and slapped Mo Tianji's face. He said coldly, "Get out. Father." Mo Tianji gritted his teeth and looked at Mo Xingchen with grief and indignation. "Get out." Mo Wuxin raised his hand and a strong wind suddenly rolled up. Mo Tianji was thrown out with a whoosh. Mo Tianji fell to the ground with a thud. He shouted, "This saber belongs to my little sister. Our Mo clan can't do such a thing. Elder, father, please reconsider. This will make the world laugh at us. Shut him up." Mo Wuxin said coldly. Mo Tianyun said, "Yes." Then he waved his hand and the two of them walked out. Immediately, Mo Tianji shouted from outside, "You will regret this." Then there was a whimper and there was no movement outside. "Mo Qingwu, the clan will preserve this saber for you. Are you willing?" Mo Wuxin looked at the young Mo Qingwu indifferently. But that's mine." Mo Qingwu looked at Mo Wuxin timidly. She bit her lips and tried not to cry out loud. "Impudent. Are you not a member of the Mo clan?" Mo Wuxin waved his sleeves. "This matter is settled. As compensation, Mo Qingwu can keep a little of her old living conditions." Mo Xingchen sighed and said, "As you wish, elder. That's my saber." Mo Qingwu stood stubbornly. She bit her lips and said in a small but determined voice, "Mine. Brother Chu Yang gave it to me." But no one paid attention to her. It was given by a benefactor. If this benefactor was a super master from upper three heavens, the situation would be different. But he was from lower three heavens. Why would the big clans of upper three heavens care about a so-called extraordinary person from lower three heavens? Mo Xingchen sighed and said, "Send Miss back." "Father." Mo Qingwu suddenly wailed and curled up on the ground. She said in despair, "Give me back my saber." Mo Xingchen's face was ashen. The corners of his eyes were slightly trembling, but he did not speak. Two servants came forward and helped Mo Qingwu up. "Miss, we should go back." "I want my saber." Mo Qingwu's eyes suddenly became empty. She looked at her father and murmured, "My saber. Take her back." Mo Wuxin shouted. Then he waved his sleeves and disappeared without a trace. The two servants carefully used their strength to lift Mo Qingwu up and walked out. "My saber. My saber." Mo Qingwu's feet left the ground and she was carried out. She struggled fiercely and cried, "Father. Father, even if you don't return my saber, can you give me the scabbard? I just want the scabbard, okay? Okay. Woo woo woo." The crying became louder and louder. Mo Xingchen sighed. With a shua sound, the saber came out of the scabbard. Then he shook his hand and the scabbard turned into a dragon and flew out. It fell right into Mo Qingwu's arms. Mo Qingwu's eyes lit up. She tightly hugged the scabbard and closed her eyes. Then, she pressed her tender little face against the scabbard. Her tears gushed out like a fountain. Her little heart was filled with pain. "Brother Chu Yang. I'm sorry. I lost the saber you gave me, Brother Chu Yang. I miss you so much. I'm so pitiful." Her little heart suddenly recalled that night when Chu Yang held her little face in his hands and said softly, "Xiaowu, you have to remember this. If one day, no one likes you anymore, Brother Chu Yang will still like you, Brother Chu Yang." Mo Qingwu cried sadly. She cried very hard. Seeing Mo Qingwu leave, Mo Tianyun's eyes suddenly became fiery. He looked at the saber in Mo Xingchen's hand. "Father, this saber, it's better if you don't have any ideas about this saber." Mo Xingchen said lightly, "Yes." Mo Tianyun lowered his head. Mo Xingchen looked at his eldest son quietly. After a long time, he sighed and said, "Yun I'm here. As a person in power, it's not a bad thing to be ruthless. This is a necessary trait for a person in power. But..." Mo Xingchen was silent for a while and said, "But in this world, there are still some things. It's not good to completely abandon them." Mo Tianyun was silent for a long time and said, "Father, I will remember." Chapter 203. Mo Tianyun took a deep breath and did not speak. Mo Xingchen stood for a while and looked at him with a complicated gaze. He said, "In a few days, I will send Tianji to Kanglan battlefront. As for you, you will continue to train in lower three heavens. Try your best to find the whereabouts of the Master of Calamity Sword. You will be separated. Do you understand?" "I understand." Mo Tianyun puffed out his chest. "It's good that you understand." Mo Xingchen took the saber and turned to leave. Mo Tianyun bowed his head respectfully and watched his father leave. He was the only one left in the hall. He slowly raised his head and revealed a feminine smile. He muttered, "Father, what I understand is, my position is very dangerous. Strike first and gain the upper hand. Strike later, and it's over. Kanglan battlefront is far away, but it's still in this world." Mo Tianyun smiled and shook his head. "Blood ties. Ha, in this world, who doesn't have blood ties? Aren't we all children of this world? If that's the case, isn't this world fratricidal every day?" "Fratricidal? You have to treat each other as your own for it to be fratricidal. But in reality, fratricidal will not fratricidal. Since you treat each other as your own, how can you fratricidal?" Mo Tianyun smiled gently. "Only when you don't treat each other as your own can you fratricidal." He revealed a very bright smile and walked out with his hands behind his back. When he was about to leave, he turned around and looked at the chair his father was sitting on. He smiled slightly. All of Mo Qingwu's privileges were revoked. She only retained the right to stay in the inner courtyard. She could stay by his mother's side in the inner courtyard. This was the only privilege that dreaming of a gentle dance saber got. After Mo Tianji knew about this, he laughed bitterly. His voice was mournful and his smile was tragic. At this moment, he suddenly remembered something. In lower three heavens, the night before he left with Chu Yang. "Don't force me to fight with your Mo clan," Chu Yang said lightly. "If I know that Xiao Wu has been wronged, your Mo clan must give me an explanation. Brother Mo is too polite. This saber is just a token of my sincerity. Of course, there is a deeper meaning. Not everyone is worthy of my effort." Chu Yang said bluntly, "Brother Mo, you can just think with your heart." Mo Tianji smiled bitterly as he recalled Chu Yang's words. He had a vague premonition that the Mo clan's snatching of Mo Qingwu's Xing and Qingwu saber and Mo Qingwu's current treatment would cause a huge commotion. Mo Tianji thought about Chu Yang's serious expression when he said those words. Mo Tianji felt a faint sense of danger slowly approaching the Mo clan, thinking of Chu Yang's brothers, Jiyu Duxing, Luo Kudi, Jimo, Dongwu Shong. Mo Tianji heaved a long sigh. He didn't mention Chu Yang's name in the meeting. If he did, it would only make Mo Tianyun laugh at him. That was because these people were all dukes in their respective clans. None of them were valued as heirs. But on that day, Mo Tianji saw the potential of these people. Since Chu Yang had integrated them together, this was an incomparably terrifying force. However, this power needed space. It needed space to grow. If Mo Tianyun knew about this, he would have countless methods to disperse these people and attack them. Therefore, Mo Tianji didn't say anything. He wanted to give these people space. Because what Chu Yang and the others wanted to do was what he wanted to do. In these few days, Madame Mo had been watching over her daughter closely. Although her daughter's talent had been destroyed, she was still her precious baby. Madame Mo couldn't go against the clan's decision. Moreover, the Mo clan had always been so cruel. Everyone was already used to it. However, this didn't stop Madame Mo from caring for her daughter. She was only worried that her daughter was so young. How could she bear such a blow? However, she realized that her daughter had changed. That lively and cute Xiao Wu who loved to talk and laugh was gone. What replaced her was a quiet and pitiful little girl who didn't talk much. She just hugged that shabby scabbard all day long and didn't speak a word. At such a young age, there was more and more sadness and calmness on her face. Sometimes, this little girl would hold her chin and stare at a certain place. Her eyes were full of thoughts. However, Every time she thought, there was more sadness in her eyes. Mo Anwu naturally didn't have lovesickness at her age. Most of her thoughts had nothing to do with Chu Yang. However, it was these thoughts that slowly sealed her heart. Why is it like this? Although Ahua is a servant, I used to call her sister Ahua. When her mother was sick, I stole medicine from the clan and cured her. That day, she said that she had to treat me well. However, from that day on, Ahua ignored me when she saw me. When I heard her talking to Sister Xiao Yu, she even called me trash. Why? Father used to carry me in circles every time he came back. However, from that day on, he didn't. Moreover, when he saw me, he turned around and walked away. When he couldn't avoid me, he pulled a long face. Did Xiao Wu really make father hate me? That day when I wanted to get some medicine, I went to the clan pharmacy. However, they didn't give it to me. I remember that when I asked for medicine, they would give it to me. Why? Because I became trash. That day in the hall, second brother didn't dare to look at me. The saber that brother Chu Yang gave me, Mo Qingwu thought like this. At such a young age, she actually had a lot on her mind. Her body also became thinner and thinner. Madame Mo saw this and her heart ached. This day, Mo Tianji received a notice from the clan to go to the Kanglan battlefront. Before leaving, he came to say goodbye to his little sister. At the Kanglan battlefront. When he arrived, he saw Mo Qingwu sitting on the doorstep with her chin in her hands. Her eyes were blank and empty. There was no spirit in them at all. Mo Tianji's heart ached. He gently came to his little sister and squatted down. Xiao Wu, second brother is here. Oh, Xiao Wu. What happened to you? Nothing. Xiao Wu, I have to go to the Kanglan battlefront. Oh, before leaving, I am a little worried about you. What do you want? Second brother will bring it back for you. Oh, Xiao Wu. Mo Tianji was heartbroken. He grabbed Mo Qingwu's thin shoulders and shook, say something. Suddenly, he was shocked. Why did you lose so much weight? Mo Qingwu's lifeless eyes finally turned around. Second brother. Yes, second brother is here. Second brother, have I really become a cripple? Nonsense. Mo Tianji immediately got angry. Who told you that? They all said so. Is it true? Mo Tianji was speechless. He hugged his little sister tightly. Little sister, you will be fine. You will not become a cripple. You don't want me anymore. Mo Qingwu sobbed. Mo Tianji was stunned. I have nothing left. Uncle Chengyu is also gone. You are also going to go. Second brother, can I still get my saber back? When the saber was mentioned, Mo Qingwu's eyes suddenly shone with hope. Yes, second brother, why did you take out my saber that day? Mo Qingwu raised her head. At such a young age, her eyes were originally innocent and bright. However, there was an additional sense of scrutiny in them. Mo Tianji was speechless. What could he say to his little sister? Could he explain? When you took out my saber, it was snatched away. Mo Qingwu's voice was very soft. It was so soft that it was a little fleeting. Mo Tianji sighed deeply. At this moment, he knew where his mistake was. If he did not take out the saber, Mo Qingwu's situation would be even worse than it was now. This saber could at least be exchanged for a more peaceful environment. At least this was the inner courtyard. The rules of the inner courtyard were strict. The servants did not dare to say anything. Mo Qingwu would also be very safe here. Moreover, her mother was here. With her mother's protection, Mo Qingwu would not be wronged. This was perhaps the biggest gain. However, Mo Tianji neglected one point. After Mo Qingwu was stripped of all her original rights, in her young heart, there was only one person she could rely on, Chu Yang, because the entire Mo clan decided her fate. They let her fall into this helpless and sorrowful situation. However, Chu Yang had once saved her from the brink of death. He even played with her and gave her a saber that she liked very much. When she suffered such a heavy blow, in the heart of the little girl, the time she spent with Chu Yang seemed to be even happier. Comparing the two, naturally, Chu Yang was the good guy. After suffering such a heavy blow, The most precious thing to Mo Qingwu now was that memory and that saber. Only that saber could give her warmth at this time. However, Mo Tianji brought it out in exchange for an environment to live in this life. The moment he took out that saber, it was equivalent to taking away the pillar of Mo Qingwu's little heart. It caused her to be physically and mentally injured. She could not bear it. This was Mo Tianji's biggest mistake. Because to Mo Qingwu, she was still young and did not understand the value of this exchange. To her, such an exchange did not make her feel anything. Because she originally lived here. Now, she still lived here. She only felt that she had lost her favorite saber, and this saber was lost because of Mo Tianji. Perhaps she would understand Mo Tianji's painstaking efforts in the future. However, she definitely would not understand now. Mo Tianji stood there in a daze. At this moment, even though he was extremely intelligent and cunning, he was still at his wits' end. Because in front of him was only a little girl who did not know the ways of the world. No matter what reason, as long as she believed in it, he could not explain it. Therefore, he gritted his teeth and said, "Little Wu, don't worry. There will be a day when second brother will take your saber back and deliver it to you. Will you?" Mo Qingwu raised her head and looked at Mo Tianji with sparkling eyes. After a long time, her eyes dimmed little by little. She said desolately, "Second brother, I am tired." After she finished speaking, she lowered her head and ignored her second brother. She looked at her feet in confusion. Her eyes were unfocused. She muttered, "I miss brother Chuyang so much." When Mo Tianji left the backyard, even he himself did not know how to describe his feelings. He only knew that he wanted to kill someone. The most ideal target was Mo Tianyun. Recommended a new book. My brother Ao Yu Chang Kong's new book, Endless Online Game. Those who are interested, please go and take a look. By chance, Li Hao discovered that he could cultivate in the game and in reality at the same time. This accidental discovery made Li Hao's life extraordinary. Chapter 204. Mo Tianyun, I will never let you go. When I return from Kanglan battlefront, Mo Tianyun, just you wait. Mo Tianji finally left. He wanted to have a long talk with his father before he left, but Mo Xingchen did not have the time. Or it could be said that he purposely did not want to see him. Seeing that the day of departure had arrived, Mo Tianji gave up on this effort. He knew that his father would not see him. When he left, Mo Tianyun actually came to see him off on behalf of the clan. The two brothers faced each other without saying a word. The group that left with Mo Tianji quietly waited outside the door for them to say goodbye. Standing at the very front was a female knight with a slim figure. At this moment, the female knight was looking at Mo Tianyun. "Let's talk here." Mo Tianji bit his lips and walked to the side with Mo Tianyun. "Second brother, I wish you a safe journey." Mo Tianyun smiled as he walked. He was very proud. "Do you have something to say to me?" "Nothing. I just want to tell you one thing." Mo Tianji was silent for a while. Finally, he said in a low voice, "Mo Tianyun, listen carefully." "What did you call me?" Mo Tianyun was furious. "Listen carefully." Mo Tianji's expression was cold. His voice was even lower. 3 years ago, when Lan Meiji was under my command, I knew that she was one of your people. Mo Tianyun was shocked. "You." "Quiet." Mo Tianji smiled cruelly. "I not only know that she is one of your people, but I also know that you are madly in love with her. Mo Tianyun, I also know that she once gave birth to a son for you. However, you did not get married, so you had to secretly hide him." Mo Tianyun's face was pale. The corners of his eyes twitched. "You like this woman and your son very much. The little guy is very cute. I also like him very much." Mo Tianji licked his lips and said, "Mo Tianyun, remember this. If Xiao Wu is wronged in the days that I am not here, you should prepare to go to the red light district to find your woman. I will definitely label him as Mo Tianyun. At that time, I believe that your enemies will be very interested." Mo Tianyun's face lost its color with a shua sound. Red Light Restaurant was a very famous brothel in the upper 3 heavens. It was also a money-squandering establishment for the younger generation of aristocratic clans. Mo Tianyun liked a woman, but he could not give her up. However, it also depended on how he gave her up. If Mo Tianji sold her to a money-squandering establishment, the humiliation alone would drive Mo Tianyun crazy. Mo Tianji admired his expression and slowly said, "And your Jew? He has been with his mother since he was born. He, I guarantee, he will also live well." A trace of madness flashed across Mo Tianji's handsome face. He gently smiled, "I didn't want to do this to you. But, do you understand now?" Mo Tianyun's eyes suddenly turned blood red. "Mo Tianji, do you want to fight me to the death?" "Xiao Wu is not a fish," Mo Tianji insipidly said, "don't look for him. Your son is no longer in his original place. Don't worry. As long as Xiao Wu is safe, they will be safe as well, but he is still your nephew." Mo Tianyun roared in a low voice. "You don't treat me as a brother. Do you think I will treat him as a nephew?" Mo Tianji warmly smiled. "Mo Tianyun, why are you always so naive?" After he finished speaking, Mo Tianji took a step back and coldly looked at Mo Tianyun. He retreated one step at a time until he took 5 steps back. Then, he suddenly extended a finger and pointed at Mo Tianyun's nose. He pointed at the air twice and casually said, "Big brother, remember my word. I don't want any unpleasantness. Do you understand?" After he finished speaking, he suddenly turned around and shouted, "Let's go." He jumped on his horse and laughed loudly. The 300 cavalry rushed into the cold wind like a black cloud and suddenly sped away. They did not look back. That Lan Mai knight looked back before she left. She saw Mo Tianyun's ashen face, but she did not have time to react. She followed the cavalry and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Mo Tianyun stood at the door. The muscles on his face twitched. After a long time, he suddenly punched the door. The entire door was smashed into pieces by his punch. He gasped for breath. His eyes flashed with unwillingness. He said in a low voice, "Pass down my order. Cancel all operations in the inner courtyard." "Grand Duke." The guard behind heard this and could not help but be surprised. "Do as I say." Mo Tianyun suddenly turned around and roared, "Are you deaf?" The guard was so scared that his face turned pale. He quickly complied and turned around to leave. Zhen Tianyun gasped for breath. His eyes shot out crazy hatred. "Mo Tianji, I will kill you." Mo Tianji, who was far away, had a complicated look on his face. He did not want to use this method. But now, he was forced by the situation. He had to use it. Snatching Lan Mai was Mo Tianji's plan 3 years ago. From then on, the struggle between the two brothers became intense. Mo Tianyun was very proud that Mo Tianji did not know Lan Mai's identity. Lan Mai was in Mo Tianji's hands. It was like he had a super spy. But he never thought that the reason Mo Tianji snatched Lan Mai was because of her identity. He was preparing for this step. At this moment, using this method to deal with Mo Tianyun was an eye for an eye. Mo Tianji left. Mo Qingwu in the inner courtyard became even more lonely. Every day, she hugged that broken scabbard. Even when she slept, she hugged it tightly. It was as if only this broken scabbard could give her the only comfort in her heart. The sadness on her little face made people's hearts ache. "Scabbard, do you miss Dao Dao? Scabbard, do you miss brother Chu Yang? Scabbard, do you want to leave here? Scabbard, I only have you to accompany me, brother Chu Yang, when will you come?" During this period of time, Chu Yang's strength training had also reached a certain level. Luo Kudi and Rui Bu Tong broke through one after another. Luo Kudi ranked 5th. Rui Bu Tong sullenly ranked last with a small gap of 1 hour. This month, the responsibility of washing underwear and socks fell on the shoulders of Rui Butong, the future lone thief. Rui Bu Tong now had a bitter face every day. Jiu Du Xing and Chu Yang were better, but Luo Kudi and Ji Mo were not polite at all. Every day, their socks were worn into mud before they were thrown into Rui Bu Tong's bed. Yin Bu Tong was almost suffocated to death. Especially Ji Mo and Luo Kudi, who were proud of their success, swaggered in front of him every day. "Come, old man, call me 3rd brother. Come, old man, call me 5th brother. Good boy, come, old man, have you finished washing your socks? Third brother will give you some pointers on martial arts. Come, old man, have you finished washing your socks? Fifth brother will exchange pointers with you. Rui Bu Tong fell into a state of continuous mental and physical attacks. Under the ravaging of the two, Rui Bu Tong's power soared, and Chu Yang's state during this period of time also made the other four speechless. This guy was cultivating without any regard for his life. After breaking through to level 3 martial master, he actually started to challenge those of a higher level. Starting from Rui Bu Tong, the four of them had to spar with Chu Yang at least 5 times a day, and Chu Yang's request was that they must not hold back. As a result, almost every sparring session was a complete and utter abuse. But no matter how badly this guy was beaten, in less than an hour, he would jump up energetically for the next round. Such a terrifying endurance made the four of them tremble in fear as they fought. Although he was able to torture his boss every single time, this kind of undying spirit was too ruthless. The four of them asked themselves, if they were in his shoes, they would definitely not be able to endure it. And Chu Yang seemed to be improving every time. Every time he used his body movement technique, his strength realm, he could actually give the four of them a whole new feeling. The four of them had never seen or heard of such a freak before. Chu Yang was also in great pain because he gave up on going out to challenge. He completely used Jiu Duxing and the other three to experience the feeling. But these four people are now high-level martial great masters. Every time, Chu Yang felt a great pressure, and his realm and understanding also rapidly improved under this huge pressure. The speed of his improvement made Jiu Duxing and the others realize what was called terrifying. In half a month, Chu Yang had forcibly raised his cultivation by 4 levels. He was now at the peak of level 7 martial master. There were many realms that he had comprehended in his previous life, so he leveled up relatively quickly. But even so, it was too sensational. And what made Jiu Duxing and the others feel the most uncomfortable was that Chu Yang's new tactics were slowly taking shape. Especially the soft water force that he had comprehended earlier, it was now slowly fusing into his moves and techniques. This kind of fighting style was very difficult to deal with. If it was not for the fact that his cultivation was much higher, a level 2 or 3 martial great master would definitely fall at his hand. There was no suspense at all. Under Chu Yang's pursuit, Jiu Duxing, Luo Kudai and the others deeply felt this huge pressure. If someone started chasing them from level 3 martial warrior and actually caught up to level 7 or 8 martial great master, that would be too shameful. As a result, the four of them started to play with their lives at the same time. The days were very dull, and just like that, the days passed by. The weather was getting colder and colder. Bu Tian Pavilion also became more restrained. Besides continuing to train, accept new people, and secretly set up an intelligence network, they did not do anything else in the country. Tai Bu Tian had just ascended the throne, and everything was waiting to be done. He was extremely busy and did not have time to go to Bu Tian Pavilion. In the eyes of the ironclad public, Bu Tian Pavilion seemed to have quieted down. In the eyes of some observant people, this confirmed that King of Hell Chu had fallen from grace and was about to step down. And so, in Ironcloud Citadel, rumors and slanders began to spread. Some people who had always been afraid of danger were now jumping up and down. One day, after finishing his training, Chu Yang felt that he had reached level 8 martial master. Looking at Jiu Duxing and the others who were still fighting fiercely, he could not help but think about something. You haven't gone out for a month, are you bored? Chu Yang smiled and asked, how about I treat you to a meal today? Where do you want to go? Or, now is the right time to go to that place. Drink wine, Jimo cheered, his eyes shining, find a few beautiful girls and talk about life. Chapter 205. Speaking of drinking wine with girls. I have never tried it before. Chu Yang coughed awkwardly and rubbed his nose. What does drinking wine with girls mean? Is it fun? Pretentious ah. The four of them spoke at the same time and made 4 disdainful gestures in front of Chu Yang. I really don't know. I have never experienced it before. Chu Yang said innocently. Boss, are you still a virgin? Jimo's eyes widened. Rui Bu Tong and Luo Ku Di laughed at the same time. Why don't we go see it today? Chu Yang rubbed his head and his eyes flashed. There was another place in Iron Cloud Citadel. Chu Yang was very interested, but he did not have any confidence. That place looked beautiful, but it could be said to be the most dangerous place in Iron Cloud Citadel. In lower three heavens, it was not an exaggeration to say that it was a tiger's den. House of exceptional beauties. From time to time, they sang and poured wine. Every night, they danced to dispel all worries. Beautiful women, where do they go? The first House of Exceptional Beauties. Ever since House of Exceptional Beauties was established in Iron Cloud Citadel, whether it was war or dynasty, House of Exceptional Beauties never fell. In his previous life, after Golden Horse Riders Department captured Iron Cloud, the biggest loss they suffered was at House of Exceptional Beauties. House of Exceptional Beauties, as the name suggests, was a brothel. But this brothel was different from other brothels. The girls in this brothel sold their skills and not their bodies. Moreover, the price was very expensive. If one was not from a wealthy family, they did not have the qualifications to spend a night there. At that time, when Iron Cloud Citadel fell, a few Golden Horse Riders went to House of Exceptional Beauties to have fun. They wanted the girls to sleep with them, but the people of House of Exceptional Beauties broke their limbs and threw them out. Then, a large group went and was beaten until they crawled all over the floor. Later, Diwu Qingru personally came out to settle this matter. No one knew how it was handled, but House of Exceptional Beauties was still House of Exceptional Beauties. Obviously, it was no longer the case. With Diwu Qingru's power at that time, he chose to tolerate House of Exceptional Beauties. House of Exceptional Beauties' terror could be imagined. Chu Yang also did not know what House of Exceptional Beauties was. But he knew that it was definitely a huge monster. However, the House of Exceptional Beauties was clearly just a tool to amass wealth. It was to amass a large amount of wealth for a certain power. Other than that, there was nothing else to understand. However, just this episode alone was enough to make Chu Yang see him in a new light. Chu Yang had been wondering if he could pull the House of Exceptional Beauties over. If he could pull them over, his strength would definitely increase greatly. But House of Exceptional Beauties had been in Iron Cloud Citadel for so many years. How could Tai Bu Tian and Tai Long Cheng not know the value of House of Exceptional Beauties? If even they couldn't do anything, Chu Yang reckoned that he wouldn't be of much use even if he went there himself. On top of that, he had been extremely busy all this time. He was also afraid that he would provoke the House of Exceptional Beauties and end up making a fool of himself. Thus, Chu Yang had been suppressing it. Right now, the weather was cold and the ground was frozen. Iron Cloud Citadel was also very busy, while his own Bu Tian Pavilion had nothing to do. Chu Yang wanted to go check out the situation. Naturally, bringing Ji Mo and the others along was a way to relax as well as a great help. Chu Yang thought for a while and said, "You guys wait for me here for a while. I will go back to Bu Tian Pavilion to take a look. If there is nothing else, we will go to House of Exceptional Beauties to play." House of Exceptional Beauties. Hearing these three words, Ji Mo, Luo Ku Di, and Rui Bu Tong simultaneously became excited. Exceptional beauties? Just how exceptional are they? Thinking about it, Ji Mo and Luo Ku Di looked at each other. Suddenly, a lustful smile appeared on their faces. Be careful, that place only sells their skills, not their bodies. Don't make a fool of yourself. Chu Yang warned them. That's more satisfying. What's the point of selling their bodies? Just thinking about it makes me sick. Ji Mo laughed like a pervert. That's right, they don't sell their bodies. Jiu Du Xing coldly stood there and said, House of Exceptional Beauties. Not interested. Page 1. In this world, besides Sister Xiao Miao, what other exceptional beauties can there be? The four of them rolled their eyes. It seemed that in this guy's heart, other than Jiu Miao Ling, all the other women in the world were just dirt in his eyes. 1. Let's go. Ayaya, what are we waiting for? We will go with you to Bu Tian Pavilion, then we will go to House of Exceptional Beauties, Luo Ku Di impatiently said. This guy's face was red with excitement. His eyes shone with a thirsty light. I have been holding back for too long. As he spoke, He lowered his head and said with grievance, "Look, there is a bulge here," and, sure enough, there was an eye-catching bulge in his crotch. Chu Yang scolded with a smile and kicked over. Luo Kudi nimbly dodged and used his hand to adjust the bulge. Using his underwear, it was not so obvious. He sighed and said, "Back in the days, this young master was also a romantic and happy man. Who knew that in the lower three heavens, I would be caught and sent to the desert after coming out of the sea. Damn it, I am about to explode." Noisily, the five of them rushed out. Jiu Du Xing originally did not want to go, but he was dragged out by Jimo and Luo Kudi. The snow had stopped a few days ago, but the weather was still bitterly cold. The sky was filled with dark clouds. The thick snow did not seem to melt at all. Ever since Mo Ching Wu left that day, Chu Yang had been feeling uneasy. During this period of time, he had been training beyond his limits, but it did not lessen his depression at all. But he could not say this out loud. If Jiu Du Xing and the others knew that he was lovesick for a little girl, they would probably despise him until he died. Calculating the time, Mo Ching Wu should be home by now. Plus, the clan should already know, right? What would the Mo clan do? Chu Yang was a little worried. The thing he regretted the most was that Dong Wushong left so quickly that he did not have time to ask him to find out about Mo Ching Wu. They arrived at Bu Tian Pavilion with creaking sounds. Although the weather was cold, the entire Iron Cloud Citadel was still bustling. Only the place that was usually the busiest, Bu Tian Pavilion, was now deserted. Most of the people were sent out by Chu Yang. At Bu Tian Pavilion, only the new disciples were training. Wu Chen was overseeing the situation. Cheng Ang and Chen Yutong were not there. No one knew where they went. "What did you arrange for them to do?" Wu Chen asked. "This is a secret." Chu Yang said calmly, "Little girl, don't be so curious." Wu Chen was speechless. "I am your senior sister. I have some matters to attend to these few days. If there is nothing going on at Bu Tian Pavilion, do not disturb me." Chu Yang said casually. "Who dares to disturb you?" Wu Chen said angrily. Then she asked with concern, "Your Highness?" No, did His Majesty look for you?" "Why would he look for me? Does he want to marry his little sister to me?" Chu Yang rolled his eyes. "In your dreams?" Wu Chen suddenly widened her eyes. "He has a little sister." "He doesn't have a little sister." Chu Yang was even more surprised than her. "Where did he get a little sister?" Wu Chen's black eyes widened. "The entire Iron Cloud Nation knows that Your Highness is His Majesty's only surviving heir." "Oh," Chu Yang said with relief. Then he hid her. Something is not right. "Who is that?" Chu Yang frowned and thought for a while. Then he slowly said, "Iron Cloud's #1 beauty, but that. What kind of beauty is that?" "Boss, are you done yet?" Jimo yelled from outside the door. "You are really something, talking about the House of Exceptional Beauties in front of beautiful women." "What House of Exceptional Beauties?" Wu Chen suddenly became alert. "Iron Cloud Citadel's House of Exceptional Beauties." The sudden voice interrupted Chu Yang's thoughts. He casually said, "I want to take them to the House of Exceptional Beauties to play." "You want to take them to the House of Exceptional Beauties to play?" Wu Chen's eyes widened. Her beautiful face slowly turned green. She suddenly roared, "You are not allowed to go." "Really?" Chu Yang looked at her in astonishment and said, "Unreasonable. What does us going to the House of Exceptional Beauties have to do with you?" Wu Chen bit her lips. "What about you?" Chu Yang turned around and walked out. "Go do your thing." "Let's go." "Wait." Wu Chen rushed out. "I am going too." This sentence made Jiu Du Xing, Jimo, Luo Kudi, and Miao Biu Tong all turn pale with fright. "You are going too?" "That is a brothel, a place for men to play, little girl. You are not allowed to go," Chu Yang said firmly. "Taking beauties to a brothel? What is this? Besides, this is not a place for fun. I must go." Wu Chen did not budge an inch. "Tell me, what can you do if you go?" Chu Yang scratched his head in distress. "Can you go play? Can you go whoring? Can you go, What? Anyway, I want to go." Wu Qian rarely expressed her determination. You want to go and have fun? No way. You stay here. Chu Yang said sternly, this is an order. I will resign immediately. I must go. Wu Qian said angrily. The two looked at each other like fighting cocks. Minister Chu was at his wits' end. Jiyu Du Xing, Ji Mo, and the others looked at each other. Then, they folded their arms and looked like they were watching a play. At this time, the savior arrived. Cheng Ang was holding some documents and hurriedly rushed in. Miss Wu, this matter. Ah, the minister is also here. That's great, this matter. What matter? Wu Qian asked subconsciously. I am going to the palace. Chu Yang came out with a whoosh. Wu Qian shouted, wait. She wanted to chase after him. Minister Chu bellowed, Cheng Ang, I order you to stop her. If you let her out of this door today, I will hold you responsible. Finished speaking, he waved his hand and took Jiyu Du Xing and the others away. Oh, Miss Wu, Miss Wu, Miss Wu. Cheng Ang stretched out his hand. Miss, please take pity on my old bones. Seeing that Wu Qian still wanted to chase after him, Cheng Ang almost cried. Besides, the minister is going to the palace for official business. Ah. Cheng Ang did not understand. What is going on? Why are you stopping him from going to the palace? Your palace is at the House of Exceptional Beauties. Wu Qian saw that Chu Yang had disappeared. She stomped her feet and said bitterly, he is going to the House of Exceptional Beauties to fool around. Ah? Cheng Ang's eyes widened. The minister is going to visit prostitutes. What? Seeing that Wu Qian's eyes were about to turn red, Cheng Ang hurriedly tried to persuade her, going to the House of Exceptional Beauties is not a big deal. At most, you can listen to some music. The House of Exceptional Beauties sells their skills and not their bodies. The confidant cursed, this minister is really something. With a 1 in a million beauty by his side, you still want to go to the House of Exceptional Beauties? Miss Wu's feelings for you, who in Bu Tian Pavilion does not know. Selling my skills and not my body is not allowed. Wu Qian said angrily. Chapter 206. Chu Yang escaped in a sorry state. Ji Mo and the others followed him out, laughing and laughing. I say, boss, this Miss Wu is really good looking. Luo Kudi clicked his tongue in admiration. This young master has seen countless women, but even in the upper three heavens, there are only a few who can compare to her. She's a top-grade beauty. Chu Yang's face darkened as he ran. Boss, I think this Miss Wu is quite interested in you. She actually doesn't allow you to fool around. Ji Mo leaned over and said with shifty eyes, I think you two have an affair. What affair? Chu Yang said angrily. Ji Mo shrank back in fear when he glared at him. Actually, this Miss Wu is not bad. Jiyu Du Xing followed from the side and said lightly, she likes you a lot, we can all see this. If you can consider it. Chu Yang sighed. Even he himself didn't know when Wu Qian's impression of him changed. But what kind of person was Chu Yang? How could he not sense it? He had always been cold to this matter. This was something that he couldn't respond to. But he couldn't reject it even more. Because Wu Qian didn't make it clear and always maintained the attitude of a silent bystander. She liked him in secret. Chu Yang couldn't do anything about it. I didn't say I liked you, and I never showed it to you. Are you going to reject me if I like you in my heart? So Chu Yang could only pretend to be confused. Hearing Jiyu Du Xing's words, Chu Yang sighed and said, how could I not know? But I'm not in the mood to talk about love. Why not? Ji Mo leaned over again, talking about love while doing business while practicing martial arts. Isn't that great? Get lost. Chu Yang said angrily, one more word and you'll return my sword. Ji Mo shrank back and didn't say anything. After hanging out with him for so long, this guy was getting more and more shameless. Only this sentence could threaten him now. If he said, one more word and I'll make you purple and red, maybe this guy will say, come on, I've been itching these days. You have someone in your heart? Jiyu Duxing asked thoughtfully. This was the only reason that could explain why Chu Yang was able to resist the pursuit of such a peerless and alluring beauty. Yes. Chu Yang nodded. Who is it? Jiyu Duxing's eyes widened. Have I seen him before? You must have seen it before. Chu Yang smiled mysteriously. I've seen it before. Jiyu Duxing was really confused this time. He began to think hard about the beauties he had seen before. The more he thought about it, the more confused he became. He really couldn't remember. The problem was that no matter who it was, there was no such thing as a beauty in Jiyu Duxing's eyes. There were only two words: women. Yes, all women are the same, so what if I already have someone in my heart? Luo Kudi snorted and happily suggested, a real man having 3 wives and 4 concubines is the most normal thing. Even if your heart belongs to someone else and is completely occupied by one person, it will not affect the firmness of your lower body. Get lost. Chu Yang and Jiyu Duxing shouted at the same time. Then, they kicked out together. Luo Kudi flew out as if he was riding a cloud. I can't think of anything. Jiyu Duxing frowned and maintained his kicking posture. Well, then keep it to yourself. Chu Yang smiled strangely. He really didn't have the mood to talk about love right now. Mo Qingwu's matter was pressing on his heart for 2 generations. If Chu Yang and Wu Qian were to serve each other now, then Chu Yang's obsession after his rebirth would become as worthless as bubbles. How far is that house of exceptional beauties? Luo Kudi ran back covered in snow and tactfully changed the topic. Not far. With our speed, we'll be there in an hour. Chu Yang said seriously, however, there's something I need to tell you in advance. The background of House of Exceptional Beauties is extremely mysterious, but also extremely powerful. Don't think that just because you're from the 3 heavens, you can disdain House of Exceptional Beauties. I'm guessing that the background of House of Exceptional Beauties is definitely not weaker than your clans. Oh! Jiyu Duxing, Ji Mo, Luo Kudi and Ji Bu Tong all revealed interested expressions at the same time. They looked at each other and smiled thoughtfully. Fuck. Luo Kudi was shocked. This is House of Exceptional Beauties. Isn't this a little too grand? Not only him, even Chu Yang and Jiyu Duxing were a little shocked. It had been snowing for 4 consecutive days, but it did not melt at all. All of Ironcloud Citadel and even the royal palace had accumulated snow, but in this House of Exceptional Beauties, there was not a single speck of snow within a radius of a few hundred feet. It was clean and clean. In fact, the ground was very dry. Even the roof was clean and tidy. The only place with snow was in the garden. There were many trees that were not afraid of the cold. The snow contrasted with the green trees, creating a dreamy fairytale feeling. 2 strings of red lanterns hung down from the roof. The surroundings would be covered in snow and ice, but only this place was dry and crisp. Under such a strong contrast, it was as if this place did not belong to the human world. There were constantly young men in embroidered clothes coming in and out. There were also some fat merchants dragging their heavy bellies as they walked in. This place is really lively. Luo Kudi's eyes lit up. He smelled the fragrance of cosmetics carried by the cold wind. His nose twitched as he said in an intoxicated manner, "Oh my God, it's as warm as spring. When I come here, I feel like a fish in water. Let's go in." Chu Yang was really surprised for a moment, but he quickly recovered. Just as he was about to go in, he suddenly felt that something was not right. He could not help but be startled. His ears perked up to listen, but he did not find anything. He immediately turned his head and looked at the path he came from. Then he followed Jiyu Duxing and the others in. More than 100 feet behind him, on top of a big pine tree, a green-clothed man silently appeared. His eyes were filled with dissatisfaction as he muttered, "This little bastard, he actually went to the brothel with his gang." Then he frowned and muttered, "Damn it, it was so hard to find him, but how could it be so? That piece of purple crystal jade essence, he did not seem to have it on him. Could it be that I really found the wrong person?" Thinking about this, the man in blue was very angry. He did not even see the person in question and was chased out by the old master. "You did not see the jade essence? If you did not see the jade essence, why the hell did you come back to report?" At that time, the old master raised his walking stick and almost broke his own spine. Bastard. Tell me, what else can you do? You can't even find a person. There were hundreds of messages, and each time your big brother and sister-in-law could not wait to go, and each time your sister-in-law came back crying. Can't you do something that you are confident in? Master, I suspect that this is definitely, you suspect your grandmother. The old master roared, 135 times, you said it was definitely the case every time. This time, it is really, too similar. Really, that expression, that face. You said the same thing the 135 times. Master. Scram. This time, it is really, scram. Still not scram. Fine. Seeing that the walking stick was about to hit him again, the man in blue covered his head and ran away. He only heard the old master roar, if you can't find the real one, every time you come back, I will drown you in a cesspool. Thinking about this, the man in blue's face became bitter. After he came back with his report, he went straight to Ironcloud Citadel. He spent a few days searching the entire Ironcloud Citadel. It was not until Chu Yang left Heavenly Armament Pavilion this morning that he coincidentally found Chu Yang. Even with his speed and martial power, he was so tired that he almost fell down. There is still no news of the purple crystal. Did he also take the one I gave him? How could the man in blue give up? He dared to swear that the young man he had found this time was absolutely identical to his elder brother, even more so than the 135 from before. Plus, that expression was even more similar. Plus, his mouth was like sister-in-law's. Unfortunately, the clan was very busy this time. He could not see his big brother and sister-in-law. He did see his grandfather, but with his temper, it was better not to see him. Sigh, green flail. I hate this kind of place the most. The green-clothed man heaved a long sigh and flew over. The best thing to do now was to follow this young man and find out little by little. Of course, if he could find that piece of jade, that would be the best. Ayaya, you have not come for a long time. What a coincidence. Today is the big day of the House of Exceptional Beauties. Please, ladies, come and welcome our guest. Once Chu Yang and the others entered the door, they were immediately greeted by a fat woman in her 30s or 40s with heavy makeup. Her face was full of smiles. Jimo retched and angrily said, isn't this the House of Exceptional Beauties? You call this a beauty? This is old amiable, you idiot. Gu Duxing looked at this self-proclaimed Master Jimo with a face full of astonishment. She was rather surprised by this fellow's fussing. Jimo's face turned red and he said, I thought old Ari was also a beauty. Get lost, you bastard. Why would a beauty be an old dove? Luo Kudi's nose was up in the air and he was disdainful of Jimo. The three of them sang the same tune as if there was no one else around. Hearing this, old Ari's face turned red and then white. He was so ashamed that he could not show his face. At this time, 5 girls in white appeared from the door and said in unison, Welcome, my 5 lords. Then, he walked up with a faint and amiable smile on his face. Each of them took one of the girls and accompanied them inside. When these 5 girls came out, even Chu Yang could not help but praise them. Not bad. These 5 girls were naturally not beauties, but each of them was delicate and pretty. Regardless of body shape or face, they were all top-notch. Their faces were lightly made up and their eyes were clear. They did not look like prostitutes. Chapter 207. At this moment, Chu Yang and Jiu Duxing heard the sound of panting. It seemed to be a nervous kind. They turned their heads to look and did not know whether to laugh or cry. If it were not for their strong willpower, they would have burst out laughing while holding their bellies. The 2 men, Jimo and Luo Kudi, who boasted that they had seen all kinds of flowers and had spent their entire lives with makeup, were held by the young girls beside them. Both of them had their heads held high, their chests puffed out, and their backs straightened. Their bodies were actually somewhat stiff. Although they tried hard to maintain a calm expression on their faces, one could faintly see that they were nervous, especially Jimo. The tip of his nose was sweating. How was this the behavior of a man who had seen many flowers and was unrestrained? Jimo Jiu Duxing called out. Jimo did not hear anything. Since his arm was being held by the girl in white, he was completely at a loss. Jimo. Jiu Duxing raised his voice. Ah. Oh, I'm here. Jimo regained his senses. How is this place compared to the ones you have seen? Jiu Duxing held back his laughter. It's okay. Although it's not as good as, it's just so. Jimo tried his best to put on an expert look. He blushed and said, back then, when I was at home, hey, I didn't spend that day in this kind of place. This kind of small scene is simply not worth mentioning. Jimo is a person who has seen many big scenes. How is he like us? We don't even know how to walk. Chu Yang said calmly. Ha ha. The girl holding Jimo's arm could not help but laugh. She immediately knew that something was wrong. She hurriedly covered her mouth and rolled her eyes. The other girls also showed a smile on their faces. They were here every day. How could they not know? For people like Jimo and Luo Kudi, they had never been here before, not to mention that they had been here for a long time. Only teenagers who visited a brothel for the first time would have this kind of behavior. Even if it was the second time, they would not be so nervous. This guy actually dared to boast shamelessly that when he was at home, he didn't spend a single day in a place like this. This kind of words, it was simply terrifying. Jiu Duxing tried hard to hold back his laughter as he said, so that's how it is. Since Master Jimo is so familiar with this place, why don't you introduce it to us? There's no need for an introduction. Jimo acted as if he had a card up his sleeve. He lowered his voice and said, when I bring you into the room, you just need to take off your pants. Ha ha ha. Jiu Duxing gave him a thumbs up. You're really something. He turned around and left, laughing wildly. Others might not know, but how could Jiu Duxing not know? The word lust was the most taboo word in the three heavens, especially these two dukes who were very talented in martial arts. Which clan didn't have high hopes for them? No matter what kind of martial arts it was, the premature release of one's primordial yang was an irreparable loss. It would also affect one's lifetime achievement. If these people didn't achieve much, then it basically meant that the future of the family wasn't very bright. Under such circumstances, Jimo and the others wanted to visit a brothel. That was like a dream. If his family found out about this, it would be strange if he wasn't skinned alive. The so-called hedonistic sons were generally good-for-nothings in the family. But those who were important to the main family of the real big clans were definitely, they couldn't be hedonistic sons. Because of the strict requirements of the family, the strict rewards and punishments, and the terrible self-discipline that they had cultivated since childhood, they couldn't be hedonistic son. There was a saying that big clans often produced hedonistic sons. Regarding this saying, Jiu Duxing and Chu Yang snorted disdainfully. Hedonistic sons were only produced by some big clans, low-class clans without any foundation. If the heirs of those big clans really became hedonistic sons, then, how could these clans stand tall for thousands of years? Wouldn't they have been destroyed long ago? The story of turning over a new leaf was suitable for ordinary people, but it definitely wasn't suitable for the heirs of big clans, because if they took one wrong step, they wouldn't be able to turn back for the rest of their lives. Even if they turned back, they would never be able to return to their original position. Therefore, they didn't believe that Jimo and Luo Kudi were pretending to be brothel regulars. After entering, they found that there was actually a huge hall inside. In the middle of the hall, there was a huge charcoal stove. The color of the charcoal inside was very bright, and the whole hall was as warm as spring. Bursts of loud chatter could be heard. At the end of the hall, there was a platform 3 feet above the ground. The top of the platform was covered by a hazy curtain, allowing you to see inside, but not clearly. Behind the curtain, there was a simple and unadorned zither. Inside, there were already many people sitting, as if they were waiting for something. At the place closest to the stage, there were actually 5 young men clustered around. The loud voices were coming from them. This is a brothel. Luo Kudi finally exclaimed in surprise, a brothel is like this. His voice was slightly louder, and everyone couldn't help but glare at him. At this time, a woman in her 30s leisurely came out and walked up to the high platform. Although this woman was slightly older, she was graceful and graceful. Her every move exuded a noble demeanor. In the hall, the voices were uniformly silent. Everyone, we will now begin our routine for the day. This woman smiled sweetly, and her eyes were like flowing spring water. She looked at everyone in the hall and said, as everyone knows, Miss Xiaolu's zither skills are peerless, and she has the reputation of heavenly zither music. I wonder if everyone is interested in hearing it. Yes. Everyone raised their arms and shouted. Moreover, Miss Xiaolu is in a good mood today. She said that if anyone can successfully invite her out, and if they can solve 3 difficult musical problems, they can enter Miss Xiaolu's room. Miss Xiaolu will play a song for him alone, and they will have dinner together. Moreover, from then on, he will be an honored guest of the House of Exceptional Beauties. Wow, everyone exclaimed. Obviously, this condition was very tempting. Who is this Miss Xiaolu? Jiu Duxing's expression became cold, and he said, she actually has such a big fight. Jimo and Luo Kudi were angry at the same time. You don't know Miss Xiaolu? Someone on the side mocked, then what are you doing here? It was as if not knowing Miss Xiaolu was too ignorant and inexperienced. Sure enough, everyone in the hall had a fanatical expression. Obviously, they were all here for Miss Xiaolu. Do you know about the Battle of the 3 Masters that occurs every 20 years in the Heaven Realm? Chu Yang smiled bitterly. Battle of the 3 Masters? The moon and lotus flowers are beautiful, the 3 Masters meet. Who will ascend the heavenly palace, who will be the champion? Chu Yang softly recited. The flute immortal drifts on the water, the flute sage quietly travels on the boat, the sound of the zither gently descends from the heavens, the vicissitudes of life paint the spring and autumn. 20 years of wind and rain, who will not fall, 20 years of wind and frost, who will remain? Originally, in the Heaven Realm, there were masters. Each of them had their own unique musical skills, and they had reached the peak. I don't know when this person suddenly wanted to compete for the title of number 1 in the world, so they began to compete. At that time, in Great Zhao's capital Lotus Lake, there were many spectators. After a round of competition, the 8 people were evenly matched, but the Shengju was defeated and withdrew, becoming one of the 8 masters. Masters are passed down from generation to generation, and the remaining 8 people were equally matched. Moreover, they had already reached the peak, and it was difficult for them to take another step forward. Therefore, they agreed to fight again 20 years later, at this time and place. However, the opponent's younger brother would fight. 20 years later, there was another descendant who was not skilled enough and withdrew, becoming a master. Until now, there are still 3 masters. That is, the flute, and the zither. Next year, there will be another 20 years, and it will be time for the final battle of the 3 masters. The final number 1 in the world will be decided. And this Miss Xiaolu is the only successor of the zither master, Chu Yang slowly said. Although it is only the flute, and the zither, and not martial arts, the fame and influence of the 3 masters in the world is enormous. It is estimated that next year, Great Zhao will have a headache for a long time. Chu Yang said this, and the corner of his mouth revealed a strange smile. Oh! But what does the vicissitudes of life paint the spring and autumn mean? Of course, it is the clan of the witnesses of the masters, writing down the sentiments of each competition. Chu Yang slowly said. So you came today, but you did not bring us to play. Jiu Duxing smiled. He had guessed Chu Yang's intention in the first moment. The gathering of the 3 masters was a grand event in the world. If used well, it could give Diwu Qingru a splitting headache. How could Chu Yang miss such a great opportunity to cause trouble for Diwu Qingru? Chu Yang's arrival this time should be an extremely important hidden chess piece. Chu Yang smiled faintly and said, "This zither master is Miss Xiaolu." Ha ha ha. He smiled and did not continue. Such a grand event, how could Chu Yang not have heard of it in his previous life? He clearly remembered that in his previous life, the flute master was second, and the zither master was third. In other words, this Miss Xiaolu was defeated. However, her defeat was not because her skills were not good enough. Instead, It was because her zither was suddenly stolen before the battle of the three absolute heavenly imperial court. The zither of the zither master could be said to be a priceless treasure. It was also the most valuable zither under the heavens. After losing her zither, how could she be in a good mood? And in such a short period of time, where could she find a suitable zither? Between two zithers, how could they be the same? Thus, the zither master's defeat was logical. But after the zither was unwillingly defeated, the other two masters were killed at almost the same time. The two great clans also collapsed like ice. This case caused a huge uproar in the world, but in the end, it was left unsettled. That was because no one knew who had done it. Only a few years later did Chu Yang realize that it must have been done by the power behind the zither master. This move was extremely ruthless, because they didn't know who instigated the theft of the zither, but it had to be one of the two families. There was definitely one innocent, and the other deserved it. Without any evidence, they simply killed off the two clans. Clean and simple. This kind of method was extremely unreasonable, but it was also the most ruthless and effective method when there was no other way. But even after killing people, the zither was still not recovered. Thus, the masters of that year disappeared with the passing of time. Chapter 208. But to invite her out, what do we use? Jimo scratched his head and said, silver? You are absolutely right. We use silver. Chu Yang nodded. Jimo was dumbfounded. He thought it would be some beautiful woman coming to write poems or something like that. Using silver was something he thought was impossible. Who would have thought that it was actually the case? This is a place where the zither master cultivates her zither, but it is also a place where she accumulates wealth. Chu Yang said in a low voice, legend has it that when the zither master first appeared here, the fee for one song was 10,000 taels of silver. 10,000 taels? Luo Kudi's eyes widened. Damn, after listening to her zither music, one could directly become a martial king. 10,000 taels is expensive. Chu Yang looked at him. From then on, the zither master would not bid for anything less than 10,000 taels. But the nobles of Ironcloud Citadel never got tired of this and even competed with each other. The zither master's income became higher and higher. Plus, this house of exceptional beauties has more than one zither master. After the zither master finishes playing, the highest bidder can listen to her song alone. This song is called Lone Wolf. It is a symbol of status. As for the rest, there are too many girls to choose from. Even though they only sell their skills and not their bodies, if they like you, then this can be discussed. Chu Yang laughed. Luo Kudi's eyes widened. If they like you, you also need silver, right? Nonsense. Chu Yang glared at him with annoyance. Truly brilliant. The four of them sucked in a breath of cold air. Yes, they only sell their skills and not their bodies. However, if you are sincere enough, then the beauty will fall in love with you and you can give her away. However, how much silver would you need to spend to make up for this? This was really hard to say. This zither can also be given away? Jimo asked. This is not possible. Chu Yang shook his head. This is absolutely impossible. Don't even think about it. Boss, it seems like you are the true master of Moonbreeze. Rui Bu Tong said with admiration. Chu Yang smiled bitterly. He did not expect himself to be a master of Moonbreeze. If he wanted to take over this house of exceptional beauties, how could he not know all the rules? Just as the five of them were whispering to each other, someone had already raised a card. 10,000 taels. Yes, Boss Chen offers 10,000 taels. 15,000 taels. Official Wang has already bid 15,000 taels. So rich. Jimo stuck out his tongue. He was a descendant of a super aristocratic family, and his background was more profound than these people's. But, if he were to take out 10,000 taels of silver just to listen to a song, he reckoned that he would be skinned alive when he returned home. Duke Lian has already bid 30,000 tael. Are there any higher bids? Someone shouted from the stage. Chu Yang blinked his eyes and said, look at brother's generosity. Suddenly he raised his card and shouted, 100,000 taels. Sitting in front of the stage, a young lady was shaking her head and chuckling softly. She was saying something to the person beside her. He was the one who offered the 30,000 taels of silver. 30,000 taels of silver was already considered very high, and he was already very confident. Who would have thought that 100,000 taels would suddenly pop out of nowhere? He couldn't help but frown. He then turned around to look at Chu Yang. This gentleman offers 100,000 taels. 100,000 taels. Is there a higher one? The graceful woman on the stage was also shocked, but she still managed to react immediately. Jumping from 30,000 to 100,000 taels of silver, this was really the first time. 150,000 taels of silver. Duke Lian stared at Chu Yang with burning anger. 300,000 taels of silver. Chu Yang sneered. The entire hall was silent. 300,000 taels of silver just to listen to a song. This kind of behavior could no longer be described as prodigal. Duke Lian's face darkened. He fiercely glared at Chu Yang. His expression was cold. He turned his head and sat down. He whispered to himself, "Where did this little guy come from? Who knows this little guy?" Several young men next to him shook their heads. One of them said, "He looks like a nouveau riche with a few taels of silver." "Young Master Lian, you will be able to crush him." Duke Lian sneered and said, "No one knows him." They all shook their heads. Duke Lian smiled coldly. He had been chasing after this zither master for half a year. In this half year, he had thrown in countless taels of silver. This year, the snow had sealed Iron Citadel. He knew that the zither master loved snow and was in a good mood. He wanted to come a few days ago, but the emperor had passed away and a new emperor had ascended the throne. This was a tense time. How could he dare to show off at this time? Therefore, as soon as the situation relaxed a little, he immediately rushed over excitedly and impatiently. He did not expect that when he came here, an unknown country bumpkin would suddenly appear and steal his thunder. In this ironclad citadel, there is someone who dares to compete with me. Haha, I want to see who this person is. Duke Lian sneered. He turned his head and said, "Keep an eye on this little guy. After you are done, break his legs and bring him to my place." A man in black behind him looked coldly at Chu Yang. The corner of his mouth revealed a cold smile. He whispered, "Rest assured, Duke Lian." How could Chu Yang not know that this zither master was the real boss of this house of exceptional beauties? This meeting was related to Chu Yang's future plans. Chu Yang was determined to win this meeting. He did not care how much money he had to pay. After all, it was not his own money, he was only paying for it first. This Duke Lian's family was so rich that Chu Yang did not mind going to his house at night. Naturally, he did not care who he offended because of this. There was only one wealthy family in Ironcloud Citadel with the surname Lian, Minister of Revenue Lian Chenggui's family. This young man must be Lian Chenggui's son. A Minister of Revenue. His son was able to spend 150,000 taels of silver just to listen to a song. His family's wealth could be imagined. But where did this money come from? The salary of a Minister of Revenue was only a few hundred taels of silver per year. Minister Chu had not taken action for a long time. In this snowy weather, he wanted to find some entertainment for the officials and citizens of Ironcloud Citadel. He also wanted to remind them, even if there is a change of dynasty, Bu Tian Pavilion is still Bu Tian Pavilion. King of Hell Chu is still King of Hell Chu. Plus, Chu Yang needed to use this big action to tell Diwu Qingru that King of Hell Chu was still in Ironcloud. This Duke Lian was using this as a stepping stone. Chu Yang was very happy. This Duke bid 300,000 taels. Is there anyone else? The middle-aged woman on the stage stopped halfway through her sentence. 300,000 taels to buy a song. Other than this second uncle, there was probably no one else who was this stupid. He smiled and asked, "What is your surname?" Chu Yang smiled, "My surname is Chu." As he said this, he took out a thick stack of banknotes and patted them in his hand. On the top of the stack, there were 3 words, 10,000 taels. This young master came here to show his sincerity to House of Exceptional Beauties. Even if Miss Xiao Lu did not play the zither, this money would still belong to House of Exceptional Beauties. Chu Yang smiled faintly. He casually handed the thick stack of banknotes to the young woman in white next to him and said, "No need to count, This is 300,000 taels. Miss Xiao Lu, please come out. The young woman in white's hand trembled as she took the banknotes. This was the first time in her life that she had received such a large amount of banknotes. She could not help but be excited. She took it and brought it inside. That Duke Lian looked on coldly. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smile as he muttered, "What a rich person. What I like the most are rich people." The young men beside him all felt that it was a pity. Such a good fat sheep, how could he provoke Lian Fan Lei? Why couldn't he provoke him? If that was the case, wouldn't that silver be gold for him? To be able to casually take out a few 100,000 taels of banknotes, this fat sheep must be very fat. What a pity. After a while, a puff sound suddenly came from the side of the stage in the hall. White smoke rose from the corners and immediately covered the stage. Then, a thin layer of gauze slowly descended from above and gently covered the stage. With a tinkling sound, a tall and graceful figure appeared in the middle of the stage and sat down leisurely. In the haze, it seemed that the zither master raised her eyes and looked at Chu Yang. The gauze was gently closed and under the lingering smoke, it was impossible to see her face clearly. Only a pair of cold and clear eyes could be seen, like a cold pond in autumn, bottomless. Then, a faint smell of sandalwood slowly spread out. The hall was silent. Everyone's eyes were quietly looking at the seemingly illusory figure. In front of the zither, an infinitely beautiful figure sat upright. Then, a ding sound was heard. The zither strings were slowly plucked and a zither sound came from afar. This zither sound seemed to come from the heavens. It was subtle, but holy and noble. It was as if with just a gentle pluck of the zither, all the troubles of the world, all the vicissitudes of the world, all the matters of the world, all became fleeting clouds and smoke. Everything became ethereal. The zither sound was faint and slowly spread out like smoke. It slowly floated out and gradually filled the entire hall. Chu Yang slightly closed his eyes. His mind was involuntarily immersed in this beautiful zither sound. Before coming here, Chu Yang had never thought that a piece of music could have such great magical power. But now, he believed it. It was just a prelude, but it was as if it had endless magical power, causing his heart to flutter along with it. Softly, a voice came from the stage. It was faintly discernible and said indifferently, "This song is called Reincarnation." The faint zither sound suddenly disappeared, but it seemed to still be reverberating. In an instant, the zither sound was even more subtle and slowly spread out again. This time, it was a completely different feeling from before. Chu Yang seemed to see himself appearing in this world from nothing. A gentle hand hugged him. Then, in the next moment, he found himself in a world of ice and snow. The scenes of his previous life flashed through his mind like this, and no matter how big or small they were, endless thoughts came and swept through Chu Yang's body and mind in an instant. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.